Hello, hello, hello again. Welcome to yet another live stream. How is everybody doing today? So today we are going to finish up taking a look at the crime films. I know the crime section doesn't interest as many people as some of my other genres that I have in my collection. But we're going to get right into the crime. I'm going to rip through it quickly. We're going to take a look at the heist films, the gangster films. I have prison films. Those are all under the umbrella of crime. And this has made me realize that I do need to differentiate crime a little bit. It's kind of a catch-all for mysteries and thrillers and all that kind of stuff. So I will do that one day. But for now, we're going to finish up crime, some of the subgenres, and we're going to get right into the animation, starting with Disney and Pixar. And we'll see how far we get into that. So without further ado, I want to thank anybody who's in the chat room right now. Feel free to give this live stream a thumbs up to help with exposure. And we've been getting our numbers up quite a bit. Each day is a little bit more, has a little bit more, viewers, which is nice. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into the collection. That's my hallway. There's the collection. All right. So like I said, I'm not going to waste too much time on movies that I haven't seen here. Lord of War, Andrew Niccol, a filmmaker who I have some suppositions as to why he's not making too many movies these days. I know he had some bombs. What's up, Thanks for checking in with me. I appreciate it. I'm going to try to get through the crime stuff rather quickly today. So, The Lord of War, an awesome crime film with a gun-running Nicolas Cage, and Jared Leto plays his brother. It's all about the military-industrial complex, how, like Metal Gear Solid says, war is all about the money. Absolutely, baby. To Live and Die in L.A., such an atmospheric, a dusty little atmospheric thriller from out west. I just really loved this film the last time I watched it. This is a Friedkin film, and it has all the grit that you would come to expect from a Friedkin film. Asks, how do you define crime films against thriller? Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. That's why I need to kind of differentiate a little bit better, have some more subgenres that'll help me figure out what the hell I'm trying to say when I say crime thriller. Crime and mysteries and thrillers usually go hand in hand, but not always, so I need to figure out a way to differentiate them. I've heard great things about this film here, but I've not seen it. I believe it's a German film. Locke, haven't seen that one with Tom Hardy, but I like Tom Hardy. The Lodger, this is a Region B. Yep, a Region B version of a very early film from 27. Wow, 27. This is a film called The Lodger. Hitchcock, did he direct this? Yeah, I think he did. Wow, there you go. Long Goodbye, I've heard many, many good things about this. It looks like a very cool movie, one that I think I'll enjoy. Kind of reminds me, I don't know much about this, but I get Sonatine vibes from it. Maybe, if you've seen both films, you could confirm or deny that. The Maltese Falcon, obviously a classic bogey film. I haven't seen enough bogey films, I gotta be honest. Man on Fire, not many people know that the Denzel Tony Scott film here, which is excellent, was a remake of an old 80s TV movie with Scott Glenn. And I've heard good things about the original TV movie. I've not seen it yet, though. But I do love Tony Scott's version. Manchurian Candidate, this movie holds up remarkably well in our day and age, because there seems to be a lot of Manchurian candidates kind of abound in society. Just kind of brainwashed folks. And I love this film. I'm a huge fan of Frankenheimer, and this is when Frankenheimer was at the absolute top of his game, making these really seething political thrillers that I'm sure were rather controversial for the time and not well accepted by the people in power. That's for sure. Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. I don't know much about this, but I've heard good things. The Matador. This is a Richard Shepard film. I remember enjoying this for what it was. I was expecting a little bit more action from it. I do remember that. Nice little triple feature here with McQueen, Bullet, The Getaway, and Cincinnati Kid. I haven't seen Bullet or Cincinnati Kid. I will rectify that soon because I think Spielberg is working on a remake to Bullet, so I definitely want to check this out before the remake, obviously. The Getaway is such a cool film with Steve McQueen and Ali McGraw. Both of them just have so much chemistry together. It's a great crime film. A little bit of romance, a lot of bit of action. Probably my favorite Steve McQueen film that I've seen. One of, at least. No, I don't think I've seen any of Altman's other work. Is asking if I've seen any of Altman's work, and I don't think I have. Something like Point Blank. Interesting. Okay, I have seen Point Blank. Is that Altman? I'm not sure. Michael Clayton. This is a really good, smart political thriller that totally went over my head when I was a more idiotic teenager. But watching this as an adult, I'm totally transfixed by the tightly woven political story here about a fixer played by George Clooney, a political fixer who gets in way over his head. It's really good. Missing and Searching here probably should be back-to-back, but they're not. I like Searching a little bit more than Missing, but both handle the screen life genre rather well. I always thought the screen life genre, things like Unfriended was sort of an offshoot of the found footage film. I hold to that. Mississippi Grind. I've heard really good things about this Ryan Reynolds, Ben Mendelsohn gambler, kind of gambling crime flick. Can't go wrong with a good gambling flick. John Borman. Point Blank is directed by John Borman, but it's similar to Long Goodbye. A dry neo-noir. Gotcha. Okay. I guess some of that dryness I do see in Sonatine. You know, some of the dreamlike dryness to the atmosphere at certain points. Definitely in the middle of that film, but I always say it's bookended by this extreme violence, and it adds to the dreamlike nature of Sonatine. It's so good. Mod Squad is one I haven't seen. This is based on an old, 60s or 70s TV show. This came out in the late 90s. I'm sure I'll have some fun with it. Mona Lisa. I always think of Slick Rick when I see this movie here. I'm a big fan of Neil Jordan's work. I think his best movie is In the Name of the Father, which is, a fantastic little Irish political thriller. Just so good. Daniel Day-Lewis is excellent in that. I still need that on Blu-ray. But Mona Lisa I hear really good things about, and it's directed by Neil Jordan, starring Bob Hoskins. Motherless Brooklyn I haven't seen. This movie was impressive when I first saw it. This guy went on to be a Hollywood director, J.C. Shandor. I think he just did that Craven movie or whatever the fuck that is with Aaron Taylor Kick-Ass. This is a good, almost anti-crime film. Not in the sense that it's promoting promoting peace, not crime. It's it has the vibe and feel of a gangster flick, but this guy is trying to go legit, but keeps getting kind of vortexed into a world of crime and slowly realizes that to be powerful, you have to be a criminal, basically. And I do believe that at this point in my life, I've come to that conclusion. Have you seen Sharky's Machine? Asks. No, I have not seen Sharky's Machine. If I'm being perfectly frank, I haven't seen enough Burt Reynolds films, and I know he was like the action guy of the 70s. One of American. Mud. I haven't seen Mud. The Mule. I haven't seen The Mule, but I like Clint Eastwood's work. Munich. I rewatched Munich pretty recently. What's up, Jolly Good? Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Munich, I rewatched a couple weeks ago, and this movie is absolutely fantastic. I recommend everybody watch this in the midst of the ongoing crisis in the Middle East. I think this movie speaks to it in really smart ways. Check this out. I love this one. Yeah, I do want to go down that rabbit hole of Burt Reynolds movies at some point in my near future. Most masculine man of the 70s. That's saying something. Murder in the First, haven't seen. Murder on the Orient, haven't seen. Name of the Rose, really hard to find Blu-ray, last time I checked, unless it's been reprinted by a boutique label or something. This shot always reminded me of Escher. There's some shots in here that remind me of M.C. Escher. This is directed by Jean-Jacques Arnaud, a very renowned French filmmaker, based on an Umberto Eco sort of period piece crime thriller. Takes place at a monastery. Very unique setting. Great acting, great performances abound. Very good movie. Check it out. Very, very melancholic, a little bit slow burn, but it unfolds in a really interesting way, I'll say. Name of the Rose, great. Yeah, I always get this one mixed up. The Name of the Rose, not In the Name of the Rose. 23 is a Schumacher film that I think is okay. It's not bad. This was really the first Jim Carrey movie I remember him doing like a serious role. Did this come out? No, I guess Eternal Sunshine came out a couple years before. And Truman Show. It was a slow evolution for Jim Carrey into dramatic roles, and I think some of his dramatic roles are his, like Truman Show is one of the great films of all time. Natural Born Killers, the director's cut. This is a crazy, wacky, over-the-top satirical film that I really enjoy. I've mentioned before I have a huge screen crush on Juliette Lewis. She's insane in this, and that makes her oddly even more attractive. New Jack City. I love New Jack City. I love my urban crime dramas of the 90s. This one is more so from the perspective of the police, kind of like a Black Untouchables, dare I say. I think it's kind of cut from that cloth. Mario Van Peebles does direct this film, and I don't think he's the best director. I think in the hands of a better director, New Jack would have been an absolute classic. It is a classic in its own right, though, especially in the hip-hop world. The Nice Guys, Shane Black at his finest, I would say. This and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Two very interesting, deconstructive buddy cop films. I like it quite a bit. Asks, have you seen the Larry Fishburne crime film with the red poster? Yeah. The one with Jeff, Deep Cover? With Jeff Goldblum, right? I think. That's a good flick from what I remember. Jolly Good. I do like Jim Carrey films. The Grinch, Christmas. Oh yeah, he's got tons of great films, and you just mentioned his comedies, so he has a lot of other comedy dramas and things like that. Yeah, Deep Cover. Yeah, that's a good one. Deep Impact. Yeah, that's a different one. Night Hunter. This was an old Dollar Tree one with Henry Cavill that in what seems to be an action role. Get the fuck over there, Jesus. Night Moves, not the one with Gene Hackman that I was asked about yesterday. This is like an eco-terrorist thriller by Kelly Reichardt. So, interesting concept. Nightcrawler, one of the great modern classics here. Yeah, sorry, it's not the Night Moves that you were thinking of. This is one of the great modern classics about a man obsessed with power and influence and the lengths this character goes through to set up his successful future. It plays into what I was just talking about with how, anybody in any sort of position of power, most of them got there by ill means, and this is the perfect example of a slimy human, sociopathic human who only cares for himself and uses others as pedestals. Nightcrawlery. Yeah, we're gonna talk soon. I'm off tomorrow, so I plan to figure out how to log on to Twitter, which I hate doing. I gotta be honest. No Way Back. This is an early Russell Crowe, like action kind of. I'm not exactly sure, Jake Gyllenhaal, Amy Adams. Haven't seen that one. November Man. A little solid action thriller here with my boy Pierce. I'm a Pierce fan. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Based on Homer's The Odyssey, if I'm remembering correctly. I haven't checked this out in quite some time. A musical by the Coen brothers. Very clever, very funny, very witty. Great chemistry between the three actors on the front here. Turturro, Tim Blake Nelson, and George the Clooney. Sam and Max Police Crime Series. Yeah, I've never played any of the games either. This is Spike Lee's Old Boy, which I hear is abysmal, so I have to check it out. I have to experience that for myself. This is what I call one of Spike Lee's sort of paycheck movies, just like give me a paycheck so I can make something I want to watch. The good directors know how to navigate that system. Out of the Furnace, still need to check that out. I hear a good, Rust Belt American neo-noir thriller. Out of Time, a decent little Denzel flick from the early 2000s by Carl Franklin. Carl Franklin worked on Devil in a Blue Dress with Denzel, which is definitely superior. But Out of Time ain't bad. Panic in the Streets, don't know much about this. Says, here is the premise of the film I want to send. The high-profile case of serial killer Ludovic Chevalier has just gone to trial, and Kellyanne is obsessed. When reality blurs with her morbid fantasy, she goes down a dark path to seek final peace. Yeah. Sounds good to me. We've got The Paperboy. Heard good things about this Zac Efron movie here. It was when he was turning into a real actor. Patriots Day. This movie really floored me with its intensity, its procedural sort of nature of storytelling, The way it handles the subject matter, showing the police side of things and the domestic terrorist side of things. Very good action set pieces that are easy to follow logistically speaking, and just very good geography, especially in the last shootout, which is just, butthole clenching, for lack of better terms. Favorite movie set in Boston? Probably like Boondock Saints. Love that movie. Let's see. Yeah, Paperboy is not based on the video game, that's for sure. Payback. I have this along with the DVD with the director's cut. This only has the theatrical version. Oh, wait, no. This only has the director's cut version. So I have the... Oh, no. It doesn't. Why do I have the DVD copy still? Interesting. Okay, this has both. I've only ever seen the theatrical cut of Payback, and I love it. And that's why I'm hesitant to check out Helgeland's director's cut, because I'm like, how much better can this film get? I hear it totally re-edits the film and cuts things, excises scenes, adds scenes. But I'm glad to see that this actually does have both, so... Yeah, everybody says I gotta see the director's cut of Payback. I will definitely rectify that. Now that I realize this has both copies, or both cuts. Lon Chaney, the OG Lon Chaney, not the Lon Chaney Jr. It's like cocaine versus heroin in tone. Interesting. So heroin would be the theatrical? Gotcha. Okay, that sounds good. This is The Penalty. Yes, Lon Chaney plays... Looks like a... What would you call it? Quadriplegic? Or no, paraplegic? He doesn't have legs. I don't know much about this. I own it because it's frickin' Lon Chaney and it's a Kino special edition. I've not seen a Lon Chaney film that I dislike. This is from the silent era. What's up, Ethan? Thanks so much for tuning in. I remember your name from back in the day. Thanks for sticking with me for this long. Thank you. Catching up on the live streams, I appreciate that. I'm glad you're enjoying them. Upbeat, fun version. Gotcha. Okay, maybe I need to watch both again. A little more sadistic. You like this moody lighting with the cat in the back there? All right. Next up, we have A Perfect Getaway. This is a David Twohy film. I like David Twohy's work. David Twohy is known for, I believe he did the Riddick films. This is not a bad little flick with a good twist. I remember watching this back in the day and enjoying it for what it was. It was like a slow burn, bottled up thriller. This movie is fucking awesome, although I haven't seen it since I had the DVD, like 15 years ago here. Well, I hope you're having a good time, Jolly Good. I try to make these fun and entertaining and informative. Speaking of sadistic and downbeat, yes, Carlito's Way, of course. Yeah. Perfume, a very interesting, weird, surreal thriller based on a book. And I just loved the way this story unfolded. I thought it was very unique, very twisty and turny, keeps you guessing. Great performances. Ben Whishaw should have been bigger than he was. Alan Rickman, Dustin Hoffman. Really interesting film about a serial killer who kills women and steals the essence of their scent and makes a perfume out of it. Just really interesting. Place Beyond the Pines, very good film. I remember enjoying it. Point Blank, there's my Lee Marvin, that's my boy. Why do you think we are drawn to crime films? Well, yeah, it's a very interesting psychological question. I think, all of us have fantasies of robbing a bank and getting away with it, right? Maybe not, I guess my crime fantasies don't involve violence, but obviously I'd love to pull off some heist, and it's a fantasy. That's why it appeals to us, because we're interested in the things that we are not, or in the things that we don't think we are. But I watch films because I like to learn about what we are. That's why I read books, too. Primal Fear. Speaking of what we are, Prisoners. Oh, what an incredible film by Denis Villeneuve. One of the best performances by Hugh Jackman. I would say the best performance. And definitely one of the best performances by Gyllenhaal. It's an incredible movie. Primal Fear I remember enjoying. This one's known for its killer twist. Not sure how it holds up. Protege, not a terrible Martin Campbell film. I'm always trying to get the most out of Martin Campbell that I can. The memorable part about this was the chemistry between Michael Keaton and Maggie Q. It was actually pretty damn good. We've got Pusher, we've got Queen and Slim. I've heard really good things about this little Bonnie and Clyde-like thriller. Rabid Dogs, this is the remake, not the Baba. Raising Arizona, classic comedy crime film by the Coen brothers. The Raven, I like this little moody sort of police thriller with Edgar Allan Poe as kind of the main character, played by John Cusack. It's okay. It's got some good atmosphere, some good fog, some good gothic atmosphere. This one's cool. These are a trilogy of British serial killer films that take place in 3 different time periods. I hear it's very good. Andrew Garfield is well known for these. Yeah, it's a remake. Red Sparrow, haven't seen. Renegades! Fun little Kiefer Sutherland and Lou Diamond Phillips film. You know I'm a fan of Lou Diamond. Revenge, one of the few Tony Scott films I've yet to see. I know, I'm sorry. Like, you know how it goes. Like, if I find it out in the wild, I pick it up. I don't do this in any particular order. River's Edge, a great Crispin Glover, Keanu Reeves film. Very, very somber, slower paced, all about the characters. Kind of an act of violence sets off the narrative in this one. Very interesting film. Romeo's Bleeding. This is a super garish and lurid crime film here that not many people talk about, with a obviously very good performance by Gary Oldman, who plays a cop, you know, on the line of good and evil. And Peter Medak. I remember Mark Isham's score from this was excellent. I just remember the jazzy score being something that stuck with me. Yeah, unknown little post-Tarantino crime film there. I think it's really good. Asks if I've seen Freeway. Yes, Freeway was a really fun little take on the Little Red Riding Hood. I really enjoy that film. Good gambling flick here with Matt Damon and Edward Norton. Run, Lola, Run. I remember loving this film back in the day. I probably haven't seen it in 20 years, but I used to watch it over and over in my teens. Very interesting time dynamic here. Not quite time travel, but almost like a video game where she gets like 3 or 4 chances to live the day over and over again. Each time something very different happens. It's just a very interesting narrative style. Running Scared, I still am an apologist. Jesus Christ, am an apologist for this film. I don't hear many people talking about this. When they do, it's not very positive in my circles, at least, you know, in life. But this is a Wayne Kramer film, and I remember just being so hopeful for Wayne Kramer at the time, the director, and then he kind of fizzled out after this. But this is a very comic book-like. I wouldn't be surprised if it was based on a comic book, but I don't think it is. But it's very graphic novel inspired. It even has some of those affectations in terms of its editing and its aesthetic. But it's a really good, fast-paced, snowball rolling downhill kind of movie that revolves around a pistol that is that a gangster is trying to find so that he doesn't get indicted. So good, really disturbing set pieces in this one. My favorite Paul Walker film. Salt, I saw this in theaters and watched it a couple years ago. Holds up pretty well. I think it's a good little action thriller. Savages, a decent Oliver Stone flick. Haven't seen that. Serpico, the classic, obviously with Al Pacino, based on the book, which was based on a real character. Serpico, all about dirty cops and, you know, walking that moral line between good and evil as a cop and realizing that, you know, most people make concessions to their moral values in positions of power. That's the theme for today. Seven Psychopaths is, Martin McDonagh film, the guy who did In Bruges and 3 Billboards. I don't know what it is. I love In Bruges, but I'm not huge on this, and I'm not huge on 3 Billboards. Shaft, this is the third remake, like the second reboot or whatever. This is the newest one. I do have the original. I just don't have the Sam Jack one. Sleeping with the Enemy, I just picked this up from Goodwill. You don't see 90s thrillers on Blu-ray at Goodwill brand new all the time, so I picked that up for $1. Frankenheimer, one of my favorite Frankenheimer films, hands down. 7 Days in May is about one of my favorite subjects in all of history and military histories. Coups, military coups in particular. And this is about the government of America being overthrown from within. What a controversy. It's probably happened multiple times, and we don't even really notice it. But John Frankenheimer directs the hell out of this little taut political thriller. I love that film. Shattered is a good little thriller here by Wolfgang Peterson. Sicario, very dark, gritty, tightly written thriller, action thriller with great characters, an incredibly malevolent performance by Benicio del Toro, sort of the banality of evil, unfeeling sociopathic evil. The sequel, I remember being enjoyable. Benicio was more of a main character. He's like recruited by the government in this one. Sort of as kind of like the ghost kind of character that he is. Just really good stuff. And I'm a big fan of Taylor Sheridan. Frankenheimer and Frank Henenlotter, two very different directors. The Siege. I like The Siege. I don't love The Siege. I think The Siege is good. I have some major issues with its politics. I wouldn't be surprised if this was made in conjunction with the American government. Brain Damage, yeah, Henenlotter. I love Henenlotter. Bruce Willis pops up like halfway through this film and puts in a nice performance. It's a, political thriller punctuated with action set pieces, nothing extravagant, but I think it's pretty interesting. Like I said, there's some scenes in it that make me cringe. Some really, really poorly misplaced patriotism. We've got Sleuth, Slumdog Millionaire. I remember loving back in the day. It was a big movie at that time. Snitch, really good, more serious rock film, one of his better. Someone to Watch Over Me. This is a Ridley Scott flick that I think is a lot like Blade Runner in its aesthetic. Not thematically, but it's the way it looks, the way it moves, its moodiness. It's kind of rainy, kind of jazzy. Score, it's just a really solid little picture, I think, by a director who is at the top of his game in this decade. Got some interesting ones here. Hitchcock's Spellbound, and we've got Spotlight on a Murderer. This one looked interesting, so I picked it up at a bookshop. 1961, looks like a French film. Yeah, not sure. Really underrated. Not a fan of when governments or military complexes get directly involved with films. Yeah, I'm going to do a whole video on that soon. It's going to be fun and controversial. Spy Game. This is a great Tony Scott film. One of his more underrated and more reserved films, I'll say. But honestly, really, really cool. Good cat and mouse kind of political espionage. I like it quite a bit. Animation. Yes, it's a-coming. I assume that's the Sleuth remake. I've only seen the... Yes, it is the remake. Very good eye. One of my newer additions to the Criterion collection. Thank you, Robin, for pointing that out. This like Tom and Jerry vibes, Jolly Good Show says. The Spy Who Came In From the Cold. Great novel. I'm looking forward to watching the movie. It's supposed to be pretty damn good. Novel by Jean Le Carré. Or Jean Le Carré. Here's one that is interesting. This is one of the few films from a very clear conservative standpoint in the last 10 years. And I think it handles its subject matter really well. It has like a kind of like the Thing vibe to it. The film opens up with like this atrocity, this mass shooting at like a funeral. And the guys from this militia need to get together and discuss what they're going to do about this person who shot this place up. Because obviously it makes them look pretty bad. Has a lot to say about our current time, and it's a very interesting thriller from a perspective we don't get too much in the modern era. And The Sting, again, a film. I'm not huge on Robert Redford. What can I say? A lot of people love this film. I think it's good. I'm so controversial, I know. Every film in the collection is a remake. Yeah. Well, not this one. Ha ha! Sam Peckinpah, probably his most popular film, I would say, right? Probably his most famous film. This is the unrated version. I'm not sure how this is differentiated from the OG, but this is a really good film. This film, I am reminded of like desolation. I'm reminded of broken windows and glass and fog and shotguns and very anxious characters. That's Straw Dogs in a nutshell. It's a tense movie, boy. Syriana, really smart political thriller here with George Clooney. He does those well, I will say. Matt Damon, Jeffrey Wright has a lot to say. Anti-war film about our involvement in the Middle East, then and now. It still holds up now. It's a really good little political thriller. Yeah, The Wild Bunch probably is, yeah, his most popular. I'll give that to you. Taps, I haven't seen. Cool cast, though. George C. Scott, Timothy Hutton, Tom Cruise, Sean Penn. A beautiful little digibook version of Taxi Driver. Yeah, yeah. Recently rewatched this with my buddy Michael. We both loved it. It's a perfect movie, in my opinion. I have a lot to say about it. Won't go into it now. Thelma and Louise, 20th Anniversary Edition Blu-ray. Ridley Scott film I haven't seen. One of the... Actually, probably the only one. This and The Duelists from the 70s or 80s and 90s that I haven't seen from him. The Third Man I actually haven't watched. I have seen Captain America by Albert Pyun 12 times, but I haven't seen The Third Man, what's known as one of the greatest British films of all time. Another Martin McDonagh film. Yeah, some say that Thelma and Louise is Ridley Scott's best. I'll have to judge it to see it. I'll have to see it to judge it. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I don't know. This film just did not culminate in anything interesting for me, I gotta be honest. Yeah, Blade Runner is numero uno. No doubt about it. Tiger House, don't know much about that one. I think it's like a home invasion kind of thing. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Funny, I watched this and I was bored out of my fucking mind when it came out. 2011, yeah. I was not as informed as I am now about political theory, politics, espionage, military stuff. This, I do want to rewatch because I think I'm going to get more out of it. I like films like this now. I love films like this now. Traffic, one of the probably most popular... This was a huge movie at the time from Soderbergh. Oh, interesting, yeah. I think it depends for me. If the writing is good, it'll keep my interest. It just depends on the setup. Yeah, I want to see Black Bag. Bored you to death. Wow, interesting. Hey, man, you're a free thinker. That's a good thing. You think for yourself. Training Day. Obviously, a classic. I hear you. Obviously, a classic. King Kong ain't got shit on me. The classic story about a corrupt cop who's trying to corrupt other cops who have a more efficient and sound moral compass. And the conflict that's caused between the two of them. Again, a movie about how power sometimes is accompanied by criminal activity, or most of the time. Traitor, this is a political thriller I definitely still want to see. Don Cheadle, Guy Pearce. Don Cheadle doesn't star in many things as the leading guy, and this is one of the few he does. This is actually written, this is from a story by Steve Martin, yes, the comedian. Says, I love the 70s, 80s paranoia thrillers like Conversation and Blowout. Absolutely, yeah, for sure. Trance is a Danny Boyle film I've yet to see. Trans-Siberian, Brad Anderson film, which I think is very atmospheric. A great setting, muted, no colors, everything's washed out and cold. Takes place in this snowy wilderness on a train. Kind of Hitchcockian, kind of Agatha Christiean. I just made that up, that term. True Believer. I got this at a Dollar Tree, so I figured, why not? True Crime, Clint Eastwood film I've not seen. Trust, I've heard decent things about this film. I like Clive Owen. I like Catherine Keener. An incredible Adam Sandler crime film here about a man who is just supremely flawed, but is trying to be better for him and his family and the people around him, but keeps making these compulsive decisions to gamble and to get deeper and deeper over, underwater and over his head. And the Safdie brothers are quite a talent. That's why I'm excited to see. They have a new film. I think it's the Rock movie, The Smashing Machine, which is going to be his Oscar bait kind of movie. So I'm interested to see how The Rock is in that and how the director handles it. Under the Silver Lake by the director of It Follows, which is one of the modern horror classics in my opinion. I think it's great. David Robert Mitchell directs this little, looks like a bourgeoisie crime thriller, kind of suburban crime thriller, or even upper class East LA. There you go. Yeah, so this one has a different kind of vibe to it, and I'm interested to check it out. Oh, it's Andrew Garfield, not the cat. It's weird. This one's weird. I like weird. The Untouchables, the classic, of course, with Kevin Costner. Robert De Niro plays Capone, and this is such a great film. I still love this movie. It's damn near perfect. Great performance, tragic performance by Sean Connery. I love the moments he's in this film. It's a great movie. Says it's like what people who aren't fans of Lynch describe Lynch films to be. Interesting. Okay, so maybe a little pretentious. Usual Suspects, Bryan Singer, his first film. This is an absolute classic crime caper here. Very dark humor. Great performances abound, especially this scene. You know, give me the fucking keys, you fucking cocksucker, the fuck. You know, Benicio del Toro, I love his performance in this as the mumbling criminal. Written by Macquarie, that's right. The Vanishing, haven't seen that. Vigilante, haven't seen that. The Violent Years, I picked this up for like $3 because they were doing 90% off at the Alamo Drafthouse which is near my home. And yeah, had to pick that up. This is an Ed Wood movie. Ed Wood. 20 when he came up with the script. Jeez, that's insane. Macquarie was 20 when he wrote Usual Suspects. Yeah, it's a prodigy. Yeah, literally keeping action cinema alive 40 years later, Macquarie. It's incredible. I still need to see Way of the Gun, which is over here somewhere. Or maybe not. Where is Way of the Gun? Oh. That one. Wait Until Dark. Interesting little paranoid thriller here about a blind woman who is being accosted and manipulated by a group of criminals. And she's forced to fend for herself. It's really, really good. My only Audrey Hepburn film, and she kills it. A Walk Among the Tombstones, a really moody little thriller here with Liam Neeson, you know, of the like that he's made over the last 15 years. But a solid one with a good story. Walking Tall, a decent remake, an okay rock film. Wall Street, yeah, Wall Street's good. Oliver Stone has a lot to say about, you know, money and stuff. I haven't seen the sequel. I pointed this out because this is Macquarie directing and writing. Definitely post-Tarantino. And I remember trying to watch this once and I couldn't get past the accent that Ryan Philippe is doing. It was really fucking annoying me. So I need to give it another fair shake. Asks if I could only keep one section of your collection, which would you choose? Probably horror, because horror covers all genres. Kitty! Say hello. Alright. We need to talk about Kevin. I've heard a really interesting psychological thriller about a school shooter, directed by Lynn Ramsey. I hear it has very good performances. Abel Ferrara movie. That's why I own it, because I would like to give it a shot. It's an Abel Ferrara crime film with Gerard Depardieu. What Doesn't Kill You? I remember really enjoying this. There was a bunch of films like this in the mid-aughts. New York inner-city crime films with brothers. One's a cop, one's on the other side of the law. I like those kind of films. It reminds me of Hong Kong, sort of heroic bloodshed types of films. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, obviously a classic, and a nice digibook there. Whiteout, haven't seen. No more war pigs have their power! War Dogs, sorry, wrong song. Jonah Hill, Miles Teller, really entertaining movie about a true story about some kids who end up getting rich moving guns, selling guns, but doing it by questionable means and tricking the U.S. government into spending a bunch of money. It's pretty impressive and proves how stupid the government is. Star War Dogs. Yeah, that would be cool. We've got Wind River, another Taylor Sheridan film here. This one's written and directed, and God, is it tight. It's a tight thriller with a great flashback sequence that fills out the story. Two excellent actors, really at the peak of their game in this film. Melancholic, has tons of pathos, really has something to say about its subject matter as well. It could be viewed as a metaphor about Indian reservations and Native American reservations. It's very, very interesting. Very good. Gets a little sappy at the end, I'll say, but it's still very solid. This is a courtroom drama that I've yet to see. Billy Wilder film. Wolf of Wall Street, Scorsese classic. This is a great film. Funny, frustrating, entertaining beyond belief. Winter's Bone I've yet to see. Heard good things, though. And this is another, I think, Lynn Ramsey film, right? Yep. You Were Never Really Here. I hear really good things about that, but I've yet to see it. All right, next up, we're going to get to Gangster and Heist. Guys, I'll be right back. I'm going to have a sip of water, and I am going to use the bathroom. It's hot. Alrighty. Alright, so the cool thing about these live streams is that I don't have to wear pants or underwear. So that's good. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Alright, guys. Next up, we have some subgenres here of crime. Gangster. Now, these are gangster flicks, mob flicks from the perspective of the gangsters. American Gangster. Yes, there's a cop in this, but I think it's centered around Denzel. This one's on the border, but it is what it is. Belly. Oh man, I love Belly. I think this movie is so stylistic, and it makes sense because it's actually directed by Hype Williams. His only feature-length film, I believe, and he was a massive talent in the world of hip-hop music videos and created a language, a style of his own, and he is able to implement that in this really sleek crime film with a bunch of non-actors who actually pull it off relatively well. This film has a very dreamlike quality. It's very interesting, and I like it. I recommend it. Not only to hip-hop fans. Yes, we are in Gangster. Black Mass. Story of Whitey Bulger, I think, right? This one was okay. I don't remember it blowing me away. I thought Johnny Depp's performance was a little weird and over the top. In a reserved way, if that makes any sense. Boys in the Hood, obviously the classic that I actually haven't watched in many years. Capone, this is like an anti-gangster film. This is like, oh, you want to be a gangster? Well, this is what happens to you, bitch. I think it's really interesting in that sense. It's like a horror film. It's like a Kubrick gangster film, like psychological. It's just so wild. You just basically watch Capone in his later years unravel. In his underwear, he shits himself. He's fucking mumbling. It sets out to show you the completely negative side of gangsterism, whereas Scorsese kind of balances that line, shows you the glitz, the glamour, and then the ultimate downfall. This movie starts with the downfall and then gets worse and worse for the main character, and I think it's pretty interesting. And Josh Trank doesn't work anymore, so there you go. Who's probably too creative or something. Carlito's Way. I love Carlito's Way. Do I love it as much as Scarface? No, but I think it's a little bit more reserved than Scarface, a little bit more realistic and subtle, and features a more mature Scarface, Tony Montana-like character. It's almost like what would happen if Tony Montana didn't die and he kind of calmed down over time, but still had that ferocity somewhere in him. Carlito's Way is fantastic. Sean Penn plays a good, sleazy, lawyer role. De Palma, still an excellent film. Belly is not a kid's movie, that's for sure. 2 Capone films made in the same year. That's right. Wasn't one with John Travolta. That's one of the worst films I've ever seen. Oh, no. That was Gotti. Oh, my God, that's bad. I think I have that. Yeah, I have to have that. I don't have Daddy Daycare on Blu-ray. I have it on DVD, but I don't have it on Blu-ray. Casino, tough film for me to watch because this one actually did traumatize me as a kid when I saw it. The cornfield scene. I mean, I'm being a bit flippant or facetious, but it's a film that is very heavy, And I can't watch all the time, but I think this is a masterpiece. I mean, yes, I own Gotti with John Travolta, but not the original Rabid Dogs. I am a heathen. What can I say? Les Cercles Rouges. This is Jean-Pierre Melville gangster flick. I've not gotten into the French New Wave gangster flicks, which I hear are great. Scorsese again. This is The Departed, and a remake, American remake of Infernal Affairs, which is just as good, if not better, than Infernal Affairs. I love Infernal Affairs. The whole trilogy is fun. But Departed is so well made. I love the theme. Everyone's a rat. Kind of takes it a step further than the Hong Kongese did. Eastern Promises, probably my favorite Cronenberg non-horror film. If I'm being honest, this is such a great crime film that handles all the aspects of a good gangster film, I think, very, very well, with killer, somber performance by Viggo Mortensen, who's just kind of quiet, laid back, but, ultimately dangerous. It is so good. Yes, Howard Shore, right? Does all the Cronenberg stuff for the most part. Naomi Watts, I'm a big fan of Naomi Watts. And Cassell plays a monster of a character, Vincent Cassell, as he does so well. The Family, it's okay. I watched this last year, I think. There's a Luc Besson film. I watch all of his movies. It's middling. Gangster Squad, super fun, tongue-in-cheek, doesn't take itself very seriously, over-the-top gangster flick with all the, Sean Penn plays Mickey Cohen. This has all the gangster guys in it. It's a fun little flick. It's very lurid. It's, again, very comic book-like, not going for realism, and that's why I like it. My kitty is whining like a little bitch. Easter Promises. Yeah, there you go. Well said. Get Carter. I am not the biggest fan of Get Carter. I think I am missing something, so I hope now, as older and smarter person, I should be able to appreciate this. We'll see. How can you go wrong with Kane as a gangster? Trying to avenge his brother. What's up, Dean? Thanks for stopping back in. I'm going to use this time to say, if you're enjoying this live stream, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Look at how my thumb, curves like a banana. Isn't that weird? Yeah, it's pretty weird. Give it a thumbs up if you don't mind. If you're new to the channel and are enjoying this live stream, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and there will be plenty more like it. I also do super chats. If anybody wants to donate actual money to the channel, it goes into the channel to hopefully make it better, which is my ultimate goal. Goodfellas on 4K. Obviously, not much needs to be said. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, and probably my favorite Scorsese. I know it's a little trite, but it's true. Gotti with Travolta, directed by a 12-year-old. No, Kevin Connolly, one of the guys from Entourage, who I say like a 12-year-old because this film feels like a movie I would have made when I was discovering what the mafia was when I was 13. It's just like a collage of images that are loosely connected, and it's really, really bad movie. What can I say? But it's fun. What's up, Crazy Joe's concession stand? How's it going? Thanks for stopping in. Goodfellas next to Gotti, yeah. Yeah. Just saw your last name on that Blu-ray. Which Blu-ray? Your last name is Gotti? The Iceman, David Kuklinski. This is about a mob hitman, Richard Kuklinski. I had his first name wrong. Yeah, kitty. Hey, John Kitty, they want to see you. Come here. Yeah, he just wants food. He wants to consume my soul, and he wants for me to feed him. That's what he wants. He doesn't love me. Iceman Cometh? No, I haven't. Marvin Frankenheimer, right? I'm pretty sure Frankenheimer did that. Maybe I'm bugging. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he didn't. This is a good gangster flick. It's very traditional, and I think people were looking for something a little bit different at the time. It's very much in line with the old Scorsese 90s flicks. It has that feel, that vibe to it. Great performance by Shannon. I think it's a good one. Oh, is that Iceman Cometh? Is that Yin Byul? I know of the film. Yeah, I haven't seen that one. Yeah, Yin Byul. Juice, I love Juice. Juice is one of my favorite Tupac films here. Great cast that have so much chemistry, work together really well. Tells a really unique story, inner city story. And this is Ernest Dickerson. So pretty much any of the Ernest Dickerson films that he's directed, I enjoy. Bones, We've talked about Demon Knight, but Juice is one of his more impressive films. I would love to have Fresh on Blu-ray. I love Fresh. Not the same director, that's Yoaz Boakim, but I love Fresh. It's such an odyssey, such a poetic film. Kill the Irishman. This movie, I love this movie when it came out. I haven't seen it in a while. But another very traditional feeling gangster flick with great performances. Funny as hell because it's based on a true story of this guy, Danny Green, played by Ray Stevenson, in an excellent performance. The true story was about this guy named Danny Green who the Italian mob tried to kill over and over and over again, but could not kill him. Like bombs wouldn't go off or he would just evade. I think he evaded mob hits like 6 or 7 times. It's so funny. So this film plays into that, and I won't say what happens, but it's a really fun film. Jackie, Police Story, Samo, Eastern Condors, Yin Byo, Saga of the Phoenix. Is he right? Yeah. What's the one with? Damn it, I forgot the name of the. It's either Saga of the Phoenix or. Damn it, I can't do this off the top of my head. I do store my films by genre, yes, and even subgenre. We're in the gangster subgenre of crime right now. Yeah, it's evolved over time. Under 10. Yeah, there you go. King of New York, a film that I think is very good. Not great, but great performances by all involved, including Walken, Fishburne, and Caruso. It's fantastic in terms of the performances. Very sort of lo-fi New York neon streets vibe to it, which I really dig. It's like the whole film takes place at night. Hey, Blastone. Thanks for checking in. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the live stream. We're about to get to heist films and then some animated stuff. Layer Cake. Martin Campbell Matthew Vaughn. I get the two. Sorry. Conflated sometimes. Matthew Vaughn. Really good English crime flick here. Abel Ferrara, I think, is really good filmmaker who pushes the boundaries. I may not like everything he's done, but that's usually the case for filmmakers that I feel push the boundaries. It's like David Lynch. That's how I feel about him. John Waters, kind of same thing. Layer Cake, awesome crime film, devastating crime film. Lawless, a good little, it's a unique spin on the gangster flick. It's not bad. I enjoyed it for what it was. Interview me for your YouTube show. Interesting. Yeah. theboardcyborg@gmail.com. Feel free to email me there and I'll take a look into it for sure. The Board Cyborg, my channel name @gmail.com. There you go. I appreciate that. That's very nice. Legend, a Brian Helgeland British gangster film written and directed by him that I've yet to see, with a dual performance by Tom Hardy. I've seen scenes from this and it looks really good. Live by Night. Couldn't finish this the first time I watched it. Second time I watched it like 6 months ago or so. I actually thought it was pretty good. Really good action set pieces when they're there. It has its problems, but it's not a terrible gangster flick. Gets lost in its tropes a little bit, I will say. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I love this fucking movie. This movie got me real interested in a Cockney gangster flick, if you know what I mean. But obviously Guy Ritchie got to start here. My favorite is still Snatch of his gangster flicks, but I do really enjoy Lock, Stock. It's kind of Snatch is kind of a remake. Affleck or Damon, I don't know. Both are fine leading men. You know what I mean? Long Friday. This is a gangster flick starring a very impulsive and explosive performance by Bob Hoskins about this little British gangster who makes up for his short stature with his big ideas and his violent outbursts. This is a really methodical English gangster flick with a great performance by Bob Hoskins that I've yet to see on Blu-ray. Directed by John Mackenzie. Mean Streets, the earliest of the Scorsese mob flicks. This really got the wheels turning in that realm for him. Great performance by a very young Robert De Niro. Harvey Keitel plays sort of your gangster in this one. And yeah, this is what really kicked it off for me back in the day. I watched this one first, and I was like, ooh, give me more. So dirty. Which Pixar villain characters have crimes? Jolly Good Show asks. All of them? They're all dictators in some way. We've got Menace to Society. I love this movie, obviously. This is a tragic, devastating sort of soliloquy on life in, the hood, the projects. These are urban dramas. I used to have a section for those separately, but I've kind of incorporated them into the gangster stuff. Great flick. Mesrine, Public Enemy. This is about a famous French criminal. Not seen that. I don't have The Craze. I've heard good things about it, which is what Legend is based on, right? The Craze, the Cray brothers. Paid in Full, my favorite hood drama. Hood crime drama, if you want to call it that. Great performances around. Cameron, a fantastic rapper from the 90s and 2000s, who puts in such a great performance, and I think that's because it was pretty close to who he actually was. So he was really able to take it the extra step and turn into this volatile, dangerous, sly, shrewd, low-level gangster. Jealous, envious. Oh, it's such a great performance. This is such a great crime film, guys. Check it out. Paid in Full. Obviously, named after the classic Eric B. and Rakim album. Inception would be sci-fi, if I had to put it somewhere. Road to Perdition. Oh, I love this movie. This is such a clean, concise little gangster flick with a wonderful and powerful performance by Tom Hanks. Directed by Sam Mendes. So well-paced, atmospheric, prohibition gangster flick about a man out to keep his son from the evils of shield his son from the evils of the world. It's kind of cat and mouse. It's a devastating crime picture with a great performance as a pretty much straight up bad guy with who's just trying to do right by his son. It's fantastic, man. Here we have Scarface, the limited edition steelbook, which is pretty neat. That's what I'm playing right now. We've got some nice little cards here or whatever. This actually has a DVD of the original Scarface from 32 and the 80s version of Scarface. I do have Scarface on Criterion Blu-ray now. I don't have it out. It's in my... Unfortunately, I have those packed away right now because... obviously, Scarface, one of the great gangster flicks of all time. What can be said? Dude, you want to see a crazy found footage film? This is a found footage film meets... This is like a found footage version of Menace to Society. This dude just is a petty criminal in the hood who just gets a phone and films all of his criminal activities. It's really entertaining, very unique. Starring a guy named Curtis Snow, written by Curtis Snow. Damon Russell directs this one. Guys, such a cool found footage flick. So unique. The Wii version. So I've been wanting to replay this for a while now. My brother actually found this at Goodwill, and I paid him, like $9 or so for it. So I don't know. I've just been in the mood to sit down and play through a Mario game that I haven't played through, and I only played a bit of that back in the day. So thanks, DJ Projection. I got it, DJ Projection. I see what you did there. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Feel free to give this live stream a thumbs up, guys, if you're enjoying it, and we'll get right back to it here. That's a shame, Jolly Good Show, that your disc isn't working for Mario. All right, and we end with one of the most underrated gangster flicks, in my opinion, of all time. Oh, fuck. Mother kiss. All right. The State of Grace is one of the great gangster films of all time, not just because I'm Irish and follows an Irish gangster family. Incredible performances all around. Ed Harris as the mob boss, Sean Penn as the estranged brother of the family, who comes back home under slightly mysterious circumstances, we'll say, and Gary Oldman as the hotshot, volatile younger brother who is just a firecracker and so over the top, but so refined in that sort of Gary Oldman style. You want to see one of the best crime flicks with some of the best heroic bloodshed-inspired shootouts. This is it. This is it. This is such a great film. I don't think it has a Blu-ray in America either, which is criminal. Yeah, there was a Twilight Time release of State of Grace, but this was a much cheaper option here by MGM, so we're going to move this light out of the way. All right, so we have Heist. I love a good heist film, guys. These are all types of different heist movies here. I'll talk about the ones I've seen. Black Hat, a good hacker heist film by Michael Mann. Has all the good things about Michael Mann movies, like its look, its aesthetic, its style, its coolness. But does falter a bit in its plotting and its narrative. What can I say? Den of Thieves, I still need to see. The sound has gone bad. Is it still bad? Can you guys hear me okay? Started raining. Can you guys hear me all right? Can I get a yay? Can I get a nay? Can I get a yay? I'm going to continue on. All right, guys. There's some static. I'm not sure why it sounds bad, guys. Sound's been laggy for a while. It might be the weather. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. That's not good. We've got... Okay, cool. I took myself off my Wi-Fi because I am a little far from the modem, so that might have something to do with it. Let me know if it goes screwy again. Thanks, DJ Projection. Thanks, guys. Dillinger, a really cool Warren Oates crime film here. I really like this film. I think John Milius wrote and directed this. Yep. Warren Oates, same as Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. Lost in the Sun, haven't seen. Dog Day Afternoon, a very quirky little heist flick with a great Al Pacino at the top of his game. John Cazale in such a reserved and such a brooding performance. I love Cazale in this. Probably my favorite of his. Sidney Lumet, one of my favorite directors. He makes no bad movies. Not that I've seen. Grand Slam, haven't seen. Heat. This is, if I had to choose one heist film for you guys to check out, that if you haven't seen it, this is the one. I have not seen Warren Oates' Cockfighter. That sounds dirty. Monty Hellman. No, I haven't seen that. Should I? I'm not a huge fan of watching animals suffer on screen. I gotta be honest. I know it's one of my quirks that probably pisses some people off, but it's true. I don't like to watch that. Human suffering all day, because they're able to act, but roosters can't act. Anyway, Heat, one of the sleekest, coolest. This, to me, is the American response to the the heroic bloodshed that was coming out of the 80s and 90s in Hong Kong. Can you guys see that? Like, the heroic bloodshed side of this, you know, you got a cop on one side of the law, it's cops and robbers, but it has a Hong Kong influence. There's something there. Yes, James. Thanks for joining, James. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, I don't like watching the suffering of animals on screen, because usually it's real. You know, these filmmakers, some care, some don't. Usually you could tell. A great neo-noir heist film here with unbelievable performances all around. Explosive action. This has some set pieces that'll just make your ass fall out of your mouth. That's disgusting. Sorry. Sometimes I say things. I don't know. It's just an awesome movie. One scene in particular where they, I think it's the third bank they rob, and they make a major mistake, and they pay for it. It's an incredible sequence. Yeah, I try. I think so. I think being kind to humans and animals kind of go hand in hand. I recognize we have to eat them, but I think there's a better way than factory farming. There must be. Killing Zoe. I love that I have this on Blu-ray. This is such a sleek kind of... It feels like it's inspired by French cinema of this time, but it's directed by Roger Avery, one of the co-writer on Pulp Fiction. Yeah, so this is the film he does around that same time. He actually directs it, and it's executive produced by Tarantino. Does it feel like a Tarantino film? No, it feels like a Roger Avery film, and you're able to really discern and differentiate the influence that Avery had on the Pulp Fiction script, which I think was significant. Not major, but significant. Killing Zoe is a really cool film with some iconic sequences. Guys, check out this little heist film starring Eric Stoltz from the 90s. Julie Delpy. Logan Lucky, one of the Soderbergh films I wasn't too impressed by. This is, what was the name of this director? Jean-Pierre Jeunet. I think it's the guy, one of the guys that worked on Amélie, right? Isn't that right? Or, Jeunet? Yeah. Jeunet. Yeah, some of my knowledge is rusty. We've got Oceans 11 through 13, so 1 through 3. All very good, sleek crime caper films. Very fun, very entertaining, fast-paced, never boring, and a great, great cast, of course. City of Lost Children, I love that movie. I still need that on Blu-ray. And Alien Resurrection, right. And Caro did Amélie, right? Or did Jeanette have something to do with Amélie? Oceans 8, I have not seen. I have seen the 2001 Lara Croft Tomb Raider films. Yeah, I understand people don't like them. I think they're fun, big budget B movies. I think they're fun for what they are. And I'm a fan of the old games, so, I'm easily entertained. James Borland says, Alexander and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day live-action film from Disney is not very good. I could have wagered that, based on that title. Old Man and the Gun I haven't seen. The most disappointing Michael Mann film, in my opinion, is Public Enemies. I like it. I think it's okay. I just think it's rather plodding and boring at points. And it has all the ingredients for a great film. Christian Bale, Johnny Depp, Michael Mann directed, Cops and Robbers, but a little poor in the writing department. Yeah. Reindeer Games, Frankenheimer's final film. I believe this was the final one he did. Was it the TV movie Path to War? I think this was the final one he did. I like this movie. I have a soft spot for it. I watched it back in the day with my pops. I thought it was very good. I didn't know who Frankenheimer was at the time, so I wasn't judging it based on, his stuff. James Borland says, I love the 70s film, Cops and Robbers films. Oh, yeah. Just bought the nice Kino. Very nice. I need to rewatch this. Christmas-themed, kind of, to an extent. Ben Affleck heist movie. Ronin. There's Frankenheimer. Still killing it in 97 with a very cool procedural heist film here, Ronin. Robert De Niro, some excellent sequences in this, action sequences, and even the dialogue is very good at points and very funny. Sean Bean, I love the scene where Robert De Niro's character is questioning Sean Bean to see if he's loyal to the team or if he's a rat. It's so good, such great writing. We have The Score, a decent little heist thriller with Robert De Niro and Edward Norton. Twisty, turny, good. Underrated heist film here with an all-black cast. All-female, all-black cast, so very unique for its genre. About a group of girls that don't have much, not very well, they don't have much money. They want more, and of course they get sucked into the vortex of quick money with robbing banks. And it's a really good film with great characters, great dynamic characters who all work well together. Each have their respective roles, in the team. Very good movie. And this is F. Gary Gray. Yeah, so he's been making movies a long time. Phantom Tollbooth, James. I love that movie as a kid. I have it on DVD now. Snatch. I love Snatch. Snatch is such a unique feeling gangster flick that could have only been made by the Brits and by Guy Ritchie. It has such a unique style and was so influential in terms of its frenetic, sort of kinetic style of filmmaking. The Dags. I'm always reminded of Mickey, Brad Pitt's character, the Dags. We've got The Taking of Pelham 123, one of my favorite 70s films, one of my favorite heist films, hands down. This is such an awesome movie, guys. If again, Heat and Taking of Pelham 123, not the remake, Tony Scott remake. The Tony Scott remake is okay, but this is where it's at. Such a great film, well written, great characters, highly influential. Takes place in New York, so I love a good New York film. Thief, a film that I liked the first time but didn't appreciate as much as I think I will the second time I watch it. This is on Criterion, but I'm okay to have the Arrow version here with a bunch of special features. Michael Mann, really the film that kicked things off for him. Dean, I have seen a couple of the Sharp films with Sean Bean. I think they're very good for what they are. Kind of episodic feature films, but yeah, very good. I like military history. The Thomas Crown Affair. It's a remake of a, what's the Steve McQueen film, isn't it? There's The Town. Very good heist thriller here with a good cast. Takes place in Boston, a very Boston kind of film. I love the character that Slane plays. Slane is the rapper. He's in this. I love Pete Postlethwaite's character. Just a menacing, dangerous feeling character. You get the feeling you don't want to cross him. And yeah, it really is a great film. Handles its ethical values very well and smartly. I do think Ben Affleck is a great director. Better director than he is an actor, that's for sure. Burt Lancaster, The Train. This is a Frankenheimer film based on... It's like a Nazi heist. It's kind of a heist film, I think. I think I'll be able to judge it better after I see it. But basically, Burt Lancaster's trying to steal back some of the artwork that the Nazis stole during World War II. And there's a shot in this movie that... Yeah, it's not going to have it on the box. There's an iconic shot of Burt Lancaster bucking that machine gun. Yes, I have a little thrifting video I've been editing together, and I plan to get up soon when I can upload it. Jolly Good Show asks, what toy store KB stands for kick butt? Dean, I have 400 war films. God damn, that's quite the collection. And we have a film here that I wasn't too big on, but I do want to give another shot. 999. Pretty by the numbers heist film. This one not so by the numbers. This has an interesting conceit. I think it handles its subject matter pretty well without getting too preachy. I think it's a good film by Steve McQueen. Not that Steve McQueen. The English one. The English director. All right, next we're going to do Prison. Get through these pretty quick. Brawl in Cell Block 99. Craig S. Dollar. Hard-hitting, exploitative prison film. Kind of like a video game where Vince Vaughn just beats the shit out of people to move his way through the prison system and avenge. I won't say much, but yeah, it's a really good flick. Bronson, I've not seen Refn's Bronson. I've heard great things about it. I know a bit about the actual prisoner. Birdman of Alcatraz. This is a Frankenheimer film, prison film that I've yet to see. Got to be in a specific mood for that one. Brubaker, Robert Redford prison flick. Con Air. I know this film doesn't take place technically in a prison, but it's kind of like a prison in the sky, right? Like they're all locked up. They're being transported. I'll look out for that one. DJ Projection. Amazingly badass American action movie here by Simon West. This is just such a fun movie with a great cast, great performances around. Thank you, Jolly Good. Yep. Cool Hand Luke. Still haven't seen that classic. Dead Man Walking, I have seen that. Good, solid prison drama. Escape from Alcatraz, awesome. One of the better, escape from prison films out there. Clint Eastwood, based on a true story. Get the Gringo, this one is very good. I like this one quite a bit. Mel Gibson writes the story for this one and stars in this little action thriller, this sweaty, hazy action thriller here. I think it's pretty damn good for what it is. Most of it takes place in a prison, though, so that's why it's there. The Rock. Why? Yeah, I could see. I mean, it's about Alcatraz. Yeah, this belongs here, I suppose. They want to make Con Air 2? Oh, my God. Kill me. Just kill me. All right, now, for all the people that have been waiting for the animated collection, that will be coming up another day. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to do it now. Fuck it. We're going to stream for a bit longer. All right. Let's get it started. Saludos, amigos, and the Three Caballeros. So you're going to notice I have a lot of these Disney Blu-ray exclusives, which I was a part of their Disney movie club at some point and was able to really exploit that and take advantage of it. You can't do it now, so there's no point in going into it. I have talked about this in my video called How I Collect Physical Media. So if you want to see how I got away with it and how I got all these great Disney classics on Blu-ray, check that out. A lot of these go for tons now. My Return to Oz Disney exclusive goes for fucking like $150. It's crazy. Thanks for the prison movie recommendations there, DJ Projection. Starring Donald Duck. Yep. The Three Caballeros. We got 101 Dalmatians, obviously a classic I haven't seen since I was a boy. I love the second half of this. I love The Adventures of Ichabod. You know, the Sleepy Hollow little short story, 45 minutes. Very atmospheric, very funny. Very in the spirit of Halloween. Mr. Toad, The Wind in the Willows is not as interesting, so I'm glad they get it over with first, because this movie really picks up in the second half, which is basically two short films kind of smashed together into a feature. Aladdin, a really nice copy of this. I think it's just the Blu-ray. It's not a 4K, but it's a beautiful digibook, which I've yet to open. Probably my favorite Disney film. Definitely the most nostalgic. It's such a beautiful film with great music from a bygone era of Disney films. I have this. Why not? I picked it up for $1, so it's in the collection. I'll check these out one day. I'm sure they're not that impressive. DJ Projection says, some guy posted on Reddit today he got Black Cauldron for like $2 at Bull Moose. Yeah, Black Cauldron's one of the ones that I think was put out by the Disney Movie Club. Or whatever that thing was. I took advantage of that like crazy. It should have been illegal. Probably was. Jolly Good says they've never seen any of the Disney movies except some of it, which I'll explain while watching a stream. Gotcha. Okay. All right, guys. There's our little break. Let's get back to it. Alice in Wonderland, another one of my favorite Disney films. Definitely. Trippy. I love psychedelic filmmaking. This is premier psychedelic filmmaking at a time where they were experimenting rather heavily with those kinds of things. Very, very interesting movie about what reality is, what it isn't. It's like a dream. It's like it goes from set piece to set piece, sequence to sequence, without much coherence, and just kind of absorbs you into its trippy psychedelic world. It's just a great, great movie. I love it. Hey, Michael, what's going on, buddy? Yeah, we need to watch Heat together, bud. For sure. It's my buddy Michael, who I always talk about in the live stream. Thank you. Michael, go ahead and hit that thumbs up for me, buddy, if you haven't already. It'll help. We just hung out today. So we have the Aristocats, which is a good Disney classic, obviously. Haven't seen it in a long time. Bambi. That's going to be a rough one to watch as an adult. I think they're trying to do a live action version of this. This is when Disney pulled no punches and showed kids what it was really like to live in the world. There's death, kids. Deal with it. Stop crying. Beauty and the Beast. This is a beautiful film that speaks to some of the deepest dynamics of human existence and coexistence, and about a woman taming the beast in man. It's a very, very mythological and symbolic film. It's a beautiful film with wonderful musical numbers. Big Hero 6, kind of a forgettable Disney animated film. And so, the way I have it, this is Disney animated. This might even have some of the stuff that went straight to video, but mostly the mainline Disney animated films. And then over here we have the Pixar films, which, you know, at this point, you can't differentiate between in terms of the way they are produced or the way that their visual styles look. They all kind of morphed into the same thing at this point, which was unique at the time about hand-drawn animated and Pixar. They were doing two completely separate things. But now we just do one thing. It's how I feel about superhero movies. It's like, yeah, we don't need comedies. We don't need action films. We don't need science fiction films. We don't need fantasy. Let's just throw it all in one and call it a comic book movie. Lazy. There's The Black Cauldron. The first PG animated film by Disney. Another Disney exclusive. Bolt. Not one I saw. That one came out when I was in high school, so not... Same thing with this one. I still haven't seen Brother Bear, although I hear good things about it. It's like a culturally Canadian movie, isn't it? Chicken Little, again, from that era of Disney that I just haven't really paid much attention to, where it was kind of floundering. Cinderella, of course, is a classic. You know, can't go wrong with any of those. Dumbo, same thing, a classic. about the exploitation of animals way, 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 way long time ago. It has a lot to say about a lot of different things. Ahead of its time. We've got Dinosaur. This was the first CG animated film by Walt Disney Animated Pictures. This is when they started, animated, hand-drawn, started to converge over to CG, and you'll see Disney would experiment with 2D and 3D animation, which I think produced some of their best results in terms of the way they look aesthetically. Yeah, Dumbo's a great one. Emperor's New Groove, a very solid Disney comedy here. Encanto, I have not seen. Fantasia, I'm so glad to have this double feature here of Fantasia and Fantasia 2000. Such relaxing films with wonderful animation. I prefer the original. Emperor's New Groove, yeah, it's a great one. I haven't seen the sequel. We've got The Fox and the Hound and its sequel. And I wouldn't own these sequels unless they were actually, on the discs or in the same collection here. This one's going to be hard for me to watch because my boy Rocky, who passed away, was a beagle. And so that'll be a tough one to watch for me for a while. Scarred me as a kid, too. It was a very sad movie as a kid. Still haven't seen Frozen or its sequel. I hear Frozen is one of the better animated Disney films of the last 20 years. A Goofy movie. A movie that I believe went straight to video at the time. Maybe it was in theaters limited. But a movie I watched over and 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 over to the point where I knew all of the lines. It made everybody in my house sick. I loved this movie growing up, about a father and a son who go on a road trip, and the father is trying to be cool for his son, but the son is too cool to recognize that his father is a great father. It's a beautiful father-son story about understanding and communication, and really resonates with me, and always will. It's a wonderful little movie. On the open road, and all the, stand down above the crowd, even if you gotta shout out loud. I haven't watched this movie in probably 20 years, but I remember all the music and all the lines. It's the Leaning Tower of Cheesa. It's good stuff. Pauly Shore. Great Mouse Detective. This is the famous one that had the little naughty scene in one of the sequences. No, that was The Rescuers. Never mind. This one is kind of like the Sherlock Holmes animated film. It's pretty good. Hercules. I loved Hercules back in the day. Still love it. James Woods. Probably my favorite depiction of a Disney villain as Hades. It's so funny. So good. Hyuk? What's Hyuk? Never even heard of that. Hyuk, hyuk, hyuk. It's like the Three Stooges. That's the sound they make. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Rewatched this with my buddy Michael recently, and I just thought it was absolutely beautiful. Underrated, even. I just love the animation from this. The scale, the architecture, the music is profound. It's a wonderful story. It's such a great movie. The Jungle Book. Obviously a classic. Lady and the Tramp. Not one I watched over and over as a kid, but still one I enjoyed. Finally watched this for the first time, again, with my buddy Michael. We watched this together, and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. It totally subverted my expectations, and I thought it was a great late-stage Disney animated film. Obviously, The Lion King everyone loves. It is a damn near masterpiece. It's fantastic. It is what it is. It's a classic. The Little Mermaid, still a great classic movie with great animation, great music in that prime era of Disney. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. This is memorable to me because of the trippy psychedelic heffalump sequence where it's I think this is the one. Remember that. That's what I remember from it. The Lion King, my sister's favorite movie, Jolly Good says. Yes, it's a very good movie. Oliver and Company, another solid Disney output from this era. I will say it's one of the weaker from the 80s, 90s era, but it's still a fun movie. Not much music in that one. Pete's Dragon, a movie we tried to watch recently. A friend of mine, Michael, and I, we tried to watch this and just were not impressed by it. It's a film I grew up with, but, Peter Pan, still a movie that sweeps me away with its imagination. I still think this is a beautifully animated film that speaks to a very deep human story about growing up and what that means, letting go of the past and moving forward. It's a great classic story. Pinocchio, been wanting to rewatch Pinocchio because, man, this movie has a lot of disturbing themes, way ahead of their time, and I want to verify that because I've thought about it quite a bit and seen some scenes since, but yes, sometimes high school kids watch animated movies. Sometimes it happens. Pocahontas, a big movie for the time, but not one that I go back to very often. The Rescuers, I loved these movies back in the day. Fun adventure films. Robin Hood, dippity-dot-diddy-do-do, dee-dot-diddy-do, dee-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. There you go. I hope you guys enjoy my singing. And if you don't, oh well. Short films collection here. This is a nice little short films collection. Those are always good. Sleeping Beauty, one of the best Disney villains in Maleficent. Some of the best animation, in my opinion. Some of the best hand-drawn animation. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Yes, that was before the hamster dance meme. Snow White, the one that kicked it all off back in 1937. I can't believe this film is almost 90 years old. The animation, rotoscoping still holds up. The storytelling still holds up. Simple, effective Disney fairy tale. It's just stunning for the time. Sword in the Stone, I love this movie that's made up of a few different set pieces from the perspective of a creature who is able to transmogrify into different animals. Story about a young boy being the unlikely hero. It's a great film. And by the way, can I comment on how much I hate these DVD cases? Don't know why Disney decided to do this, but these DVDs cases do have the Blu-rays. I would like to get them all uniform at some point because it's an eyesore. Tangled, a film I've never seen. Tarzan, a film that was big at the time with the Phil Collins music. Haven't seen it in a long time. I was more of a George of the Jungle kind of guy, you know what I mean? The Three Musketeers, I haven't seen that since I was a kid. I love this movie. I think it's underrated. I think it's a great version of Treasure Island that, shoots us into space instead of the high seas. Sky Pirate, anytime you have Sky Pirates, you can't go wrong. And this melds 2D and 3D animation as well as it could be blended. And I wish we could get back to this sort of humble filmmaking where we combine technologies to create something that feels new and innovative. Instead, we just hammer away at the same looking CG movies over and over and over. This was the later kind of reboot of Winnie the Pooh that I've never seen. This is probably my favorite modern, 3D animated, Disney animated film. I love the first half of this. The first half of this is some of my favorite stuff ever in an animated film. The second half turns into like a bubbly, modern gaming soliloquy, kind of like Mario Kart. I'm more of an old school gamer, so I liked the arcade aesthetic and how they play into the story, the ideas, and seeing all the characters from the games I grew up with, Zangief and Sonic and Pac-Man, Q*bert. It's a great movie, and I also like this film. What can I say? I thought the way that they give us sort of an insular look at the internet and how it's navigated was very interesting and creative. I like this movie. It stuck with me the first time I saw it. Sorry, heard somebody honking out there. And then Zootopia, which I also have not seen. So I have some work to do in the field of modern Disney. Yes, Wreck-It Ralph is awesome, isn't it, jolly good? All right, we're moving on to Pixar. We've got Pixar short films collection here, number 2. I don't have the first one. I thought I did, but I don't. We have... Why is this in the beginning, though? That's weird. It should be LMNOP. Brave, I still haven't seen. I know, crazy. Bug's Life, classic 7 Samurai-like story here. A solid movie. I watched it recently. I think it holds up pretty well. Cars, this is a trilogy I haven't seen. Coco, very emotional. emotionally manipulative even, but effective. Very beautiful story about the power of art and the power of music and culture. I thought it was good. Finding Nemo, obviously from the classic era of Pixar, of which I prefer. Finding Dory, not from the classic era. This one either I haven't seen. The Incredibles, one of my favorite movies of all time. Tells a story that is eminently important all the time. I think people don't see the forest for the trees when they watch this movie and what it's really about. It's about authoritarianism. It's about dictatorship. It's about total control, totalitarianism, which is the villain is an envious, untalented piece of garbage who wants to bring everybody else down with him because he's so envious. And that speaks to all of the evil men in history. This one doesn't tackle themes that are quite as heavy, but it's still a good movie. Not as memorable. Inside Out. This one I do need to see. This is the Pixar film I haven't seen that I'm most excited to watch because I hear it's the last of the great crop of Pixar films. Monsters, Inc., obviously a classic, a great movie. Monsters University. Haven't seen it. Ratatouille, I think this is a Brad Bird film that I will have a new appreciation for once I actually sit down and rewatch it. I've heard it's great. People love this one in retrospect. I remember watching it and enjoying it. I think I watched it with an ex-girlfriend at the time. Toy Story, obviously, this series means a lot to me, nostalgically speaking. It was a more innocent time in filmmaking, and these films, this trilogy is one of the great trilogies of all time. My favorite probably being the first just because of the nostalgia plus the great story, simple storytelling. I even like Toy Story 4. When I saw it, I was coming back from my father's funeral, actually. And for whatever reason, I put this on, and it kind of had a lot to say about men growing older and fathers and things. I don't know. Maybe I was drawing connections that weren't there because of the emotional state I was in. But this one I do remember enjoying quite a bit, and it definitely got me a few times in the end. I do think it gets very heavily manipulative in terms of its emotional string pulling. But Toy Story 4, 5 coming out next year. This one's cool, kind of in the style of The Land That Time Forgot, Toy Story That Time Forgot. It's a little short animated film here. Have fun with it. Up, I haven't seen. I tried to watch it back in the day. It was just too emotionally heavy for me at the time. Wall-E, one of my favorite Pixar films. Definitely one of the greatest films of all time. Very prescient. Has a lot to say about modernity. There's a lot of things this gets right about where they thought humans were headed. And, yeah. All right. I'm going to check in with the chat. Guys, a very lively chat today. I really appreciate all the interactivity. Hopefully I'm responding to as many comments as I can without breaking my focus, because I like to be articulate when I'm talking about these things. But 12 people in here. I think we had up to 20 at one point. That's amazing. Michael says Jungle Book is his favorite classic Disney movie. Yeah, that's a great one. Feel free to give this live stream a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And we'll get right back to it. All right, now we're in animated. Now this covers pretty much everything else except for comics animated and anime, which Anna may have to wait till next time. But I'm going to try to get through this shelf and this shelf, or up to anime. We'll see. Yeah, Bambi scarred all of us as a kid, Michael. You're not alone on that one, buddy. All right, my thumb is numb. That's weird. All right, we've got a really nice... Yes, it does. It definitely teaches you about man and nature. This is a great little Don Bluth triple feature here. Anastasia, Fern Gully, a.k.a. Avatar before Avatar, and Thumbelina. I know that's not the hottest take, but yes, it seems that James Cameron was influenced by Fern Gully, at least in some way. Don Bluth is one of those underrated animators of the 90s who was overshadowed by the work that Disney was doing, for good reason. But Anastasia was a big film at the time. Fern Gully, I don't remember as well, but this was a big movie. I remember marketing at McDonald's and things like that for Anastasia. And, beautifully animated films. Don Bluth definitely was from the world of Disney animated films. I believe he worked on Fox and the Hound and other films from that era. We have another nice triple feature here by Laika Productions, the stop motion animation studio, led by the guy that used to rap. Was it Burger King that Anastasia did a marketing thing with? There you go. Yep. For some reason in my head it's McDonald's. Coraline, I love Coraline. Paranorman, I love. And Box Trolls, I haven't seen. 9, a very interesting post-apocalyptic, lower-budget animated CG film here, with some heavy hitter producers, and just a very unique conceit and a fun, dark adventure. Achi sounds like I'm sneezing. Achi and Spak. Jesus. Yeah, 9 is awesome, Byron. Thanks for stopping in, Byron. I appreciate it. Good to see you again. This one, I always thought was a Japanese film, but it's not. I don't even know where it comes from. It looks like it's in English, so I don't know. I got this at the Dollar General at some point. And you know me, I love unique animation styles, and this certainly looks like a unique animation style. Really underrated little claymation film here, The Adventures of Mark Twain. Very strange film, but totally, how do you say, stop motion, claymation style. Very, very interesting film here with great animation. I mean, for them to do a 90-minute feature-length claymation film at this time in the 80s was a big deal, 84. And yeah, I think this film holds up very well. Exudes imagination, and I don't think many people remember this animated film from the 90s, or from the 80s. One of the cooler animated films in my collection is this little film here, directed by Lotte Reiniger, who is a German filmmaker, who came up with this incredibly unique art style. Silhouette animation that just blew me away. Now, this film was made in 1926, which is 100 years ago, 99 years ago, and this holds up as one of the most unique art styles I've ever seen. Colored backdrops with silhouetted imagery, animation. My God, what an impressive film. It's an anthology almost of stories from 1001 Nights or Arabian Nights. Directed by a European, and it just oozes of culture and creativity. It is such an incredibly cool film that obviously I haven't watched on Blu-ray yet here. But when I found out this was on Blu-ray, I had to pick it up. I'm sure it's loaded with special features too, so it's only a 67-minute film, but incredibly impressive. Yeah, I love weird animation, Byron. I'm in the same boat. Have a lot of cool ones that you'll see. The Adventures of Tintin, criminally underrated action-adventure flick in a time where the action-adventure flick was being subsumed by Marvel and comic book movies. But the animation in this holds up so well, so stylized, so unique. This doesn't look like Pixar films of today. It doesn't look like anything of today. It just has a very unique art style that I think, like I said, is pretty much lost. It all kind of looks like the same schlock now. And I love this movie. Is it perfect? No, but it's a rollicking adventure with great voice acting, great storytelling in terms of action adventure. This is the last great Indiana Jones style adventure film. And yes, it's directed by Spielberg, and the plan was for Spielberg to direct one and Peter Jackson to direct another. I think that kind of fell by the wayside once they lost a bunch of money on Tintin. Such a shame. Afro Samurai, maybe should be in... That. He's probably asking if I need anything at like a grocery store or anything. It's probably a nice thing. Afro Samurai I haven't seen. Obviously heavily inspired by anime and Japanese cinema. All Dogs Go to Heaven. Not a film I'll be watching anytime soon since my dog died. An American Tale. A film I grew up loving. I actually watched Fievel Goes West even more. It was a little bit more It was shorter, more well-paced, less dramatic than this one, but this, as an adult, holds up very well. Important. Ants, this came out around the same time as Bug's Life, and I remember liking both pretty much equally. Sylvester Stallone is in this one as the lead ant. And Woody Allen. Yeah, I just remember liking this movie. I don't remember much about the details, but we will... Actually, Stallone's not the lead ant in this. It's been too long for me to remember the details. Here we have, I believe, a French film. Animated film here with a very nice Tintin-esque art style here, but 2D hand-drawn. Steampunk. Definitely appeals to me. I picked this up at the Dollar Tree back when they had good movies. Astro Boy, this is the American CG remake of the Japanese classic by Osamu Tezuka. Book of Life, I've not seen this one. This is a cool one, guys. This is called Cartoon Roots by a company called Tom Staith's Cartoons on Film. This guy was on a channel I have enjoyed for a long time, the AVGN, James Rolfe's channel, and he was talking about his company and how they resurrect these old, almost nearly forgotten animated shorts and compiles them. Look at this, 1907, 1919, 1917. I mean, these are old, and I'm sure heavily offensive. So stuff like this, I think in the near future, since censorship is on the rise, stuff like this will become sought after and become more valuable, if it's not already. Mark my words. Dean, have a good night, buddy. Thank you so much for stopping in. I appreciate it. Oh yeah, the Astro Boy cartoon is great. Yeah. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball. This is Lord and Miller doing a really entertaining, fast-paced, kinetic energy animated film here, based on a book of which I am not familiar with, but a really cool concept, very creative, very fun, when Lord and Miller were just getting those creative wheels turning before they were snuffed out by the Hollywood powers that be. The Croods, haven't seen that. Crypto Zoo, one of the coolest animated films of the last 10 years. Just very unique, unlike anything I've ever seen. Has a lot to say about, is critical about a lot of things, and also leaves things up to the viewer to imagine. Starts off in a very interesting way, but then quickly subverts your expectations. Such a unique art style. Very quirky, very surreal. Crypto Zoo. So glad to own that on Blue. Yeah, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is a fun one. Wasn't there a sequel? Dante's Inferno, this is an animation adaptation of Dante's Inferno, the 9 Circles of Hell. And each circle is directed by a different director. Some anime, some Western directors. Very cool stuff. The 2 Dead Space animated movies, I love the games, and I like the movies for what they are. I think they capture the spirit and atmosphere of Dead Space very well. I love the 2D hand-drawn animation style. They're gory, they're very adult, and I like me an R-rated animated film. We don't have enough of those. Admittedly, haven't seen Despicable Me. I'm not sure if it's even going to be something that I enjoy. But, you know, I picked these all up dirt cheap. Early Man, this is, what's his name? Nick Park. Yeah, the guy who did a few films I'll talk about here. Haven't seen Early Man. Epic, haven't seen. Fantastic Mr. Fox, a film that I thought I was going into thinking I would love, that I just got out of and I thought was okay. Not my favorite Wes Anderson film, but one I do want to give another shot. I hear it's a heist film, a fun heist film. I didn't really get that from it, but Fantastic Planet is a French film by René Laloux, which I haven't seen. This is a Criterion release. This is supposed to be an incredibly inventive and creative animated film from the 70s. It looks super trippy and very, very philosophical in what it has to say, so I'm definitely glad to own that on the Criterion there. Yes, Nick Park directed Wallace and Gromit. Yep, Chicken Run, Pirates, right? Didn't he do Pirates? We'll get to it in a second. Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within. I don't hate this movie because I am able to do this crazy thing called separate the movies from the games. I don't understand why people view them. Why would you view this movie through the lens of the video games? They're different mediums. This is literally an American movie Yeah, it made in conjunction with the Japanese, but it's a very American take on a very Japanese property. It's not a bad science fiction movie if you could forget that it's Final Fantasy. I mean, just call it The Spirits Within, and I think there's an interesting story to be told here with some, unique animation for the time. I know, Lucy. I must watch Fantastic Planet. I will. It's a nice short watch, too. Fire and Ice, I'm a huge Ralph Bakshi fan, and Bakshi was a one-of-a-kind artist with a very crude art style, but a very iconic art style and very recognizable. Bakshi was a maverick in the field of animation. He did this all himself. He pushed his stories. He finally got a big break with the Lord of the Rings adaptation. But I prefer his films Fire and Ice and another one that we have coming up here in a bit. Flight of the Dragons. I think this is a really interesting kind of science versus fantasy movie here, with some interesting things to say. I do love the design of the dragons in this film and the sort of the lore that surrounds the dragons in this film, and it kind of explains scientifically how they're able to breathe fire. John Ritter does a voice in this. This is directed by Rankin and Bass. So, the guys who brought us all the Christmas claymation classics and animation classics, Rankin and Bass. They also did, speaking of Lord of the Rings, they did The Hobbit animated and Return of the King animated too. Frankenweenie, a wonderful little story about loss that, again, I won't be watching anytime soon because I experienced that in my real life recently. We've got... That's right, John Ritter did pass away 2 decades ago. I'll always remember him for Stay Tuned. Lit up my childhood. Fritz the Cat, this is a Bakshi film that isn't really quite up my alley. I want to see it because it's controversial and, pushes the boundaries for sure for the time. Early 70s, 72, isn't that amazing? Based on characters by Crumb, sleazy New York controversial flick here about what's the word? About a sexual deviant cat who's just a creep, obviously, as you can see here. But yeah, so this is Fritz the Cat. It's a classic. Everybody knows Fritz the Cat. Maybe we'll do, Ratatouille, Inside Out next week. That sounds good, bud. I don't really know what this is. I came across this and I was like, oh, it's like an animated short film. I don't really know what that is. Of Game of Thrones. We've got The Haunted World of El Supervisto, which is a Rob Zombie animated film. Super fun, over the top, good Rob Zombie fun. Heavy Metal, a film that I love despite its flaws. This is an anthology film, loosely connected, not very coherent in its storytelling. Its voice acting could have been better. They were drawing from like a crop of comedic Canadian actors, I guess, at the time. But because of Ivan Reitman being connected to it. I love the animation. I love some of the stories in this are excellent, some not so excellent. But it got a sequel years later called Heavy Metal 2000. Coonskin, one of Bakshi's best. I still haven't seen that one. I do have it on DVD, though. Hey Arnold. I love the old show, Hey Arnold. Taught me so much about life. That's another thing with comic cartoons. I don't think they really attempt to do that anymore these days. They just attempt to entertain. Whereas the beauty of cartoons from my day, I think, was the entertainment balanced with the messages, the wisdoms of life. But Hey Arnold, the movie, I love this film. I picked this up pretty recently on Blu-ray. That's why it's still sealed. But yeah, I totally understand. It's not for everyone. As I just related to it, kid from the inner city. I just kind of related to the film. Horton Hears a Who, I've not seen. The How to Train Your Dragon movies, I had to get rid of my second one because it didn't work. But I do love the first film. Second and third films I like quite a bit. This is a trilogy that I had not seen up until pretty recently, and I watched with my buddy Michael, and is a really, really solid trilogy of films. I have no interest in the live-action one. Howard Lovecraft and the Undersea Kingdom. I have this because it's, Lovecraft as a kid. I don't know. This is a Dollar Tree find. It looks kind of unique and not supposed to be very good, but I think there's like a trilogy of these films. Ice Age, I haven't seen. God, there's how many of these now? 5. Another French animated film. Pretty sure it's French. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Triplets of Belleville director. That's right. So more of a drama, but one I haven't seen. Iron Giant, a great Brad Bird flick. I think this film is full of heart, and it's a very tragic film. Makes you want to cry, makes you want to cheer and excitement. It has all the emotions, and it's nice and short. It's brief. And this has two versions of it. Both are 90 minutes. It's kind of odd. I'm curious. Two all-new scenes conceived for the film's original release. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, there's Dollar Tree does have a lot of crappy movies, but you just have to know what to look for. Isle of Dogs, not a film I've seen. Wes Anderson animated film. Play on the I Love Dogs, Isle of Dogs. James and the Giant Peach, I'm a sucker for claymation. I love this little Henry Selick film here in the style of Nightmare Before Christmas. And based on the children's novel, which I was a fan of as a kid and had read. And then the movie definitely captured my imagination too. Just a unique art style. Isn't that so funny? I have thought the same thing. That is so funny. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, it's very, yeah. Has obviously the kanji. Kubo, this is by Leica Productions. I definitely want to see this one. I hear very good things about it. Oh, even the front. Yeah, and I could see that. Isn't that weird? It's like a collage, isn't it? Yeah, I Love Dogs. I do want to check out at some point. It'll be a while, though. Any dog movies will have to take the back seat for now. Kung Fu Panda Trilogy. I think there might even be a new one. Isn't there a fourth? I love the first film. Definitely an homage to Hong Kong action flicks. And, actors like Van Damme, right? Make appearances in these movies. Very fun. Maybe I've seen the second one, too. I'm not exactly sure. It is kind of bizarre. Land Before Time, Don Bluth classic, nice and short, great, moving score by, what's his name? Horner, is it Horner? Or yeah, James Horner. Great animation, a tragic story of love and loss. I can't do Jack Black. I'm Jack Black! It's the worst thing I've ever heard. He's just loud and annoying, usually, right? But I do like some of his movies. Last Unicorn. Everyone can do Jack Black. I'd have to hear him. I just can't do these things. I don't know. I'm not good put on the spot. I do these things like off the top of my head, and they sound pretty decent. I'm a mimicker, so I could mimic, but not on the spot. We've got Legends of the Guardians, which, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I could do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We've got a Zack Snyder film that not many people talk about, which is very good. Lego Movie, I was impressed by, despite it being a big propaganda marketing piece. It was still a solid film. That's Michael Caine to a T. My name is Michael Caine. I was in all 3 Batman films. Ninjago Movie, I know nothing about the subject matter or the Legos or whatever the fuck this is, but this movie I thought was awesome as a martial arts fan. Martial arts fans out there, check this one out. It's even got Jackie Chan. The action's good. It's shot well. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Everybody that I bring this movie up to is like, really? You like Ninjago? It's like, yeah, I do. I don't know what the hell it is, but it was cool. Joe Dante doing Looney Tunes, kind of a spiritual successor to Space Jam. A good movie, about as good as Space Jam, for what they are. The Padawan Menace, I've not seen this Lego Star Wars movie. Somewhat interested. The old animated version of the Lorax, not the Danny DeVito one. Some Looney Tunes classic shorts here. Platinum Collection Volume 3. Here we have Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings. Again, a very good adaptation of Lord of the Rings that Peter Jackson definitely stole some shots from, some set pieces from even. It's a very good movie, holds up well. I wish Bakshi got to do the whole trilogy. That would have been cool. Megamind I haven't seen. I guess this is Motherfuckers. I don't know. MFKZ. I don't know what this is. It looks rather unique, though. Looks French. Rankin Bass was not Lord of the Rings. That was Bakshi, and Rankin Bass did the sequels to that one. Missing Link, not sure why I even own that. Same thing with Monsters and Aliens. I'll watch these films once and then give them up if I don't like them. Mr. Peabody and Sherman, I grew up watching the cartoons, so I hear this one is actually a pretty good adventure flick with time travel. My Life as a Zucchini, don't know much about that. Dollar Tree find back in the day. We've got Pebble and the Penguin, a little bit unknown Bluth film there. Pink Panther animated shorts. This is kind of cool. Volume 1 here. Got a bunch of the old Pink Panther. Da-dun, 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 da-dun. We have Neja, which is the probably only Chinese animated film I have on Blu-ray. I have a few on DVD. This looks great. Looks like it has a lot of Chinese culture in it. Directed by Zhao Zi. And I've not seen it. I think this got a sequel relatively recently, and a live-action one. China is booming with their cinema. Yeah, my dad used to go, what did the Pink Panther say when he stepped on an ant? Dead ant, 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 dead ant. He was a jokester. Paddington, I want to see these movies. I hear they're very good, sort of unexpectedly so. And yeah, I think I'm actually going to watch that pretty soon with a friend. We have the SpongeBob movie up here, one of the many. And the Peanuts movie, which I hear is very true to Charles Schultz's original vision and kind of is told from a side scrolling perspective, almost like the original cartoon. This looks really charming. I would like to give this a shot as a fan of the Peanuts, as much as anybody else. Mr. Peabody and Sherman movie is based on the Rocky and Bullwinkle segments. There you go. Very good. This is Nick Park too. No, Peter Lord. Okay. I thought this was... Okay, Nick Park had nothing to do with it. Same kind of style, though, right? Pirates. I've not seen this one. It looks goofy and fun, though. Planet 51. Let me know if any of these are supposed to be good. Rango! I like this little Disney animated film with Johnny Depp as Rango. Kind of a classic Western story in animation style. Reluctant hero, kind of bumbling hero. There's the water is the main resource in this, in the desert. It's just a very interesting movie. It's not bad. Says I don't rewatch animated films nearly as much as live action. Yeah, that's a fair point. I think I'm the same. Actually, I was in high school. Love the Paddington films. Jolly Good says. Lucy says Pirates is funny. Excellent. Good to hear. A Red Sonja animated film. I didn't even know this existed until I got this huge Blu-ray lot. I think I went through that lot on my channel back in the day. Rio, don't know much about it. Rise of the Guardians. These are a lot of animated films I missed while I was too old and too cool for school. Robots I remember enjoying back in the day. Ron's Gone Wrong. Yes. This one I was impressed by, moved by even. Very funny, quirky little character here. I want to say, sorry, guys. Zach Galifianakis does the voice of this little guy, Ron, here. Very good story about the power of technology and the creeping totalitarian future that technology may lead us to. We have Sausage Party. This is an R-rated, like X-rated animated film, very adult. Look at the cast. You can the usual suspects from the last 20 years of comedy here. I don't expect much from it, but Secret of Nim, I do have to see this one. I watched it once when I was a teenager. Wasn't too impressed. Red based on comics. Yeah, Red is based on comics. Asks, do you have an explanation for why anime films from the 80s looked so fucking cool? Even with their budget, when their budgets were relatively low, because you had real passionate humans drawing everything painstakingly. That has to have something to do with it. That has to be a different process than animating on a computer, which takes probably an equal amount of talent, nothing that I can even imagine. But there is an intimacy that is lost, I think, that is lost when you move away from hand-drawn animation cells. Yeah, I agree with you, but I think we're in the minority, right? Because anime is more popular than ever. People love anime these days, but it's so chaotic, and I don't know. I still need the first Shrek. I have 2 and 4. Like, what the fuck? I think this is 4. Yeah. I love the Shrek movies. At least 1 and 2 are fantastic. Yes, I agree with you. Simpsons movie. I wasn't the hugest Simpsons fan growing up. I appreciate it now as an adult. I put this in like a nice yellow case. I thought it was fitting. Smallfoot. Space Jam. I have this really sweet, steelbook here. I love this steelbook. Definitely cool to have this in the collection as a big fan of the movie when I was a kid. One of the coolest animated films to come out in the last 10 years, up there with Crypto Zoo. This is The Spine of Night. We were talking about Bakshi earlier. Well, this is a very Bakshi-inspired, Fire and Ice-inspired high fantasy film. Very adult. Tons of boobs, tons of gore, tons of weird, surreal imagery, like floating eyeballs. Very strange movie. An anthology film. Each story kind of expounds on the lore of this world a little more than the next. Some are more character-based, some are more world-based. But it paints a really interesting picture, very interesting high fantasy film of the likes I've never seen. Lucy Lawless, a decent voice cast there. Guys, watch Spine of Night. It'll blow you away with its animation style, at least. Michael says, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is a very colorful animated movie. I agree. It's very nice looking. Spirit. Haven't seen it. Next up. All right. You know what? We're going to do anime today. Screw it. Just going to get it over with. Then next time we'll get into sci-fi. South Park. Bigger, longer, uncut. Obviously, a classic movie. Shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker. You're a boner-biting bastard, Uncle Fucker. Blame Canada. The resistance lives on. You know a musical's good when you remember all the songs from them off the top of your head, even though you haven't seen the movie in 15 years. Never saw it on Blu-ray. I'm sure it holds up remarkably. The Clone Wars, the Star Wars animated movie that nobody likes. I do look forward to watching this at some point. And forming my own opinion.
Fuck! God damn it! Screw you, Mr. Garrison. Suck my balls, Mr. Garrison. Excuse, can I finish? Okay, I'm done.
I love South Park. Have you guys ever seen this lenticular slipcover? Star Chaser, the animated movie that was a ripoff of Star Wars, and it is a to-the-T ripoff, but it is a relic of the 80s that no one talks about today. It is fantastic. Fantastico. Nice Cartman impression.
Thank you.
I can't now I can't do it because I'm overthinking it.
Suck my balls, Mr. Garrison. Suck my balls.
We have the Starship Troopers animated films. Better than the sequels? Yes. These are Japanese produced and directed animated sequels to Starship Troopers. Watch Paul Verhoeven's and then watch these two. Actually, Johnny Rico comes back for Traitor of Mars, and yes, played by Casper Van Dien. Blow it out your ass. The Tale of Desperat. This is based on the children's novel. We have Tales of the Night. I don't know much about this, but it looks French. The Transformers, the movie. Steelbook. I love this movie. I think this movie is radically awesome and never boring and always engaging and dynamic and fun. Fun! It says all the things that the Michael Bay films don't. It also has heart and passion and a rockin' 80s soundtrack, which, yes, it's a bit aged now, but it still is awesome. Yep. I haven't seen it either. I like the Warhammer world, despite not being very familiar with it. I've played a couple of the games. I've seen some of these films. This is an animated feature-length film about this platoon of Ultramarines that go to this planet. And it's pretty unique. Has an art style that definitely stands alone. Not a very high budget, but a pretty cool movie made by the guys who, control Games Workshop, that control the Warhammer tabletop game now and world. Who Framed Roger Rabbit 25th Anniversary Collection. One of my favorite movies of all time. Hyper nostalgic, but a very well done animated film. mixed with live action. I still think it does it better than pretty much any others. And last but certainly not least, we have one of my favorite Ralph Bakshi films, Wizards. Just such a cool character design and art style. So otherworldly, so ethereal. And just such an awesome movie. And a simple story, but, great Ralph Bakshi animation. And I have it in this beautiful digibook. Which film awakens something in me? This one? Or this one? I just want to say thank you to all the people in here. This has been a very successful stream in terms of how they usually go for me. We've got 13 people in here right now. Thank you all so much. I hope I am entertaining and informative enough. If you enjoy the channel, hit the thumbs up. If not, well, that's fine too. I guess I'm doing like a Family Guy thing right now. I don't know where this came from, but I told you, shit just comes out of nowhere. Okay. What the fuck is wrong with me? I am insane. I'm insane. Batman, the complete animated series. Well, you have to have this if you're a Batman fan. And I am a Batman fan. This is some of the best Batman stuff ever made. This also has the two movies. This has Mask of the Phantasm, as well as the Freeze movie, Sub-Zero. It does not have Mystery of the Batwoman, which is another one that came out in that era, I would say, post DCU and all that, or pre DCU. But yeah, awesome stuff. Oh, thank you, Jolly Goods. Very nice. I appreciate that. Very nice to say. Were the most wildly inappropriate. Roger Rabbit and The Mask were the most wildly inappropriate films I saw at an early age in terms of innuendo. My God, tell me about it. Yeah. And I was allowed to watch those films for sure because, yeah, it was so disguised. It was disguised so well as a double entendre. Things that have double meanings, right? One meaning for a kid, one meaning for an adult. That's an art that we have lost. Who agrees with me? That's an art that we have lost. Treating kids with the respect that you would treat an adult. Creating a movie that is both for adults and for kids, but for different reasons. I mean, that's an art. That's an art, and it's lost, if not dead. Maybe it can be found again. Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker, a very solid Batman Beyond movie and a very solid Batman movie. Excellent stuff. Yes, Jolly Good, they do. Yes. This one's cool. I like it because it's Batman meets Lovecraft. The cool thing about our era is every single conceivable Batman story is being produced. Martial arts, like Hong Kong-inspired Batman, ninja Batman, anime-inspired Batman, Lovecraft-inspired Batman, like Sherlock Holmes-inspired Batman. It's ridiculous. But Doom, that came to Gotham, is very cool. I think it's cool. Creeping sort of Lovecraftian vibe here. Oh, this one goes here. Another one, again, set in the Victorian era during the Jack the Ripper reign. So yeah, like Batman meets Jack the Ripper. Based on a comic book, I think by a graphic novel by Mike Mignola, the guy who did Hellboy. But this is another very good story with a plot or a twist you see coming from a mile away. But still very well told, well animated, very atmospheric, and a unique setting for a Batman movie. Hush, I've read the original graphic novel, which is fantastic. I hear pretty rough things about this one. Most of the Batman animated films are great, so they miss every once in a while. This is one of my favorite Batman movies of all time. This is an incredible yarn. This is an incredible story based on the graphic novel, which is just as good. But I think they really transcribed this perfectly to the screen. This is my favorite version of the Harvey Dent Two-Face story. I think it has the most pathos, the most understanding of the character. This goes through basically a year, and it's punctuated by set pieces that revolve around a certain holiday. It's so effing good. Graphic novels are the same as the comics, Jolly Good says. I think they're slightly different. I think comics are more syndicated, so like weekly Batman comics, but The Killing Joke is more of a graphic novel. It's supposed to play, or The Watchmen, it's supposed to play like a movie. That's why it's called graphic novel, because it kind of works like a movie in your head, and I do think that is slightly different than your syndicated comics, but that's just my humble take. Mystery of the Batwoman, yep, I already showed that one off. It's a solid little Batman movie, one of the earlier ones. Here we have Batman Ninja. A lot of people say that this one isn't too good. It's directed by Junpei Mizusaki, anime director in Japan. American co-production, obviously, here with the Japanese. I think the art style looks pretty damn cool. An anime Batman movie. So if I get what I expect, I'll be happy. Here's another unique one. This is what I love about these. They all have different art styles. They're all kind of unique. This is in the same vein as the Batman 60s show. So actually, Alan West and the guy who plays Robin come back to voice these characters. Return of the Caped Crusaders. So this is an animated film, modern animated film with a very 60s style. The boom, crack, comic book style of the 60s stuff that we love. I love this movie. I mean, how can I not as a fan of both of these? We get the fight between Batman and the TMNT, and we get them teaming up and kicking ass together. And I just noticed that this is like a little damaged. Okay, it's not bad. Nice and short, gets right to the point, gives the audience what they came to see, and tells a pretty decent story at the same time. Hellboy. We have the double feature here of the Hellboy animated flicks, of which not many people know about. Directed by two different people. These are both about an hour and 15 minutes long, so shorter, on the shorter end of things. But I hear really good things about these Hellboy animated movies, and I'm a fan of the character. I think it's a pretty cool character. Injustice, one of the darker DC animated movies, of which I haven't seen. We have Crisis on Infinite Earths 1 and 2. I hear they fumble this story a little bit for the animated adaptation. Justice League versus the Fatal Five. Don't know much about that one. I need the original Justice League on Blu-ray for sure, but I do have Unlimited here, which is just as good. A great continuation of the Justice League animated series that is a continuation of the Batman animated series, Superman animated series, some of the best television, kid or adult, of all time. The Lego Batman movie, a fun, frenetic, insanely paced Batman movie with a sense of humor that's a mile a minute. Hard for me to keep up with this kind of stuff. Made for the modern age that doesn't have much of an attention span. I retain a bit of an attention span, so sometimes these kinds of movies get lost on me. Like Spider-Verse, here I am sounding like an old man. Asks, are we going in reverse chronological order on the genre tags, or how do we end on A? Yeah, it's not alphabetical. So I have animated, so I have Disney, Pixar, those are obviously related, then Miscellaneous animated, and then comics animated. Yeah, there's not much rhyme or reason to this, frankly. Where were we? The Flash. Oh, no, The Flash, Lego, this was a straight-to-video one I've not seen. Persepolis, based on a Iranian graphic novel about I want to say, I don't know much about Islamic Revolution in Iran. So what's that? The Ayatollah Khomeini, right? The late 70s Iranian Revolution. Yeah, not a pretty one. Suicide Squad, Hell to Pay, 4K. Super fun movies, the Suicide Squad ones. Hard R-rated, very violent. You get to see some Harley Quinn, we'll just say action, if you know what I mean. For all my guys out there. Wink, wink. We've got Land Before Time is definitely a classic, Michael, for sure. Love that one. The Death and Return of Superman, I've yet to... Oh, no. Did I see this one? No, I haven't, but I would like to. Man of Tomorrow. As a student of Russian history, this one is a very interesting little piece here about what would happen if Superman, Clark Kent, was born in Soviet Russia and became a devout communist during the Cold War. I think it's pretty interesting to see from that perspective. Teen Titans Go at the movies. I've heard excellent things about Teen Titans at the movies. I've heard very good things about that movie. Tales from the Black Freighter, little animated Watchmen flick that not many people remember. This is, I think, in the style of a comic. I'm not exactly. Oh no, this one is definitely. I've heard such good things about this. It's like a motion comic, so it's like a dynamic version of the graphic novel that kind of moves and I'm not sure if it has voice acting. I'm not sure, but it's the full story. You know, it's almost 4 or 5 hours long. And then finally we have Wonder Woman Bloodlines, which I haven't seen, so we won't talk about. All right, let's see here. How's everybody doing? Checking in with everybody. We're about to get to the anime here, so that'll be fun. I have a lot to say about that, and then we're gonna call it for this live stream. This one's been going on for a little over 2 hours now. Jolly Good says the Teen Titans Go movie is pretty good compared to the show, which is not. Interesting. All right, guys, last but not least for today, let's get into everyone's favorite anime. This is hopefully, for the people in the chat that are not huge anime fans, especially traditional anime fans, retro, whatever you want to call it, old school anime. I hope this turns you on to some movies that I think break free from the confines of animation and become something larger than life. And the first one here is Wicked City, a double feature, Wicked City and Demon City Shinjuku. Two very thematically linked films in a lot of ways, kind of dealing with the spirit world. Wicked City is basically Blade Runner, where in exchange for the replicants, you have these monstrous creatures that could disguise themselves as humans. It plays on very similar things that Blade Runner does, but it's more Japanese, it's more spiritual, it's more mythological, like folkloric in terms of Japan. Some incredibly cool sequences. I will say it does get a little melodramatic with the romance and some of the sex scenes. There's a lot of tendril, not a lot, but there's some like tendril hentai kind of stuff going on that used to bug me, but doesn't really bug me anymore. I just think it's impressive animation. It's known for the intro sequence where our lead character knows something's up with his date, and she turns into quite the creature. Demon City Shinjuku is I like even more. It's a bottle movie in the sense that it takes place on a few blocks in Tokyo, and the main characters go between the spiritual world and the real world, and it's just very trippy. Very cool animated flick. These are two flicks by one of my favorite anime directors, if not my favorite. I would probably say he's my favorite right now, anime directors. His name is Yoshiaki Kawajiri, and he's done a few more films I'll talk about coming up here soon. But guys, check out Wicked City and Demon City Shinjuku. So this is one of the films that I would say, even if you're not an anime fan, you need to watch this movie. And pay close attention. Maybe watch it twice, because it does go over people's heads the first time, even the second time. But this movie tries to get a lot of story into a 2-hour movie, and it does so remarkably well because of who directed it. Katsuhiro Otomo directed, wrote, and helped draw every frame of this film. And he's the one who did, 4, 5, 6 volumes of the Akira graphic novel or manga, which I've read the first couple books of. And definitely more detailed and just as good. But the animated film is a beast of its own. So iconic. Some of the best action scenes of all time in any film, live action or animation. Some of the coolest design. The best animation, in my opinion, possibly ever. In terms of character design, the way things move, sakuga. Everything is just perfect in this movie. The only thing that could get a little convoluted is the storytelling. But like I said, if you pay attention to every single word, every single line of dialogue, its implications, you'll be able to follow it. Highly influential, nothing like it. Some of the best music of all time. One of my favorite intro sequences in any movie. Just floors me every time I watch it. Makes me weep. Michael says, I think Peter Jackson had love for Ralph Bakshi, Lord of the Rings. Absolutely. Here we have a great little OVA. Now, OVA stands for Original Video Animation. OVAs could have been 20 minutes. They could have been 40 minutes. They could have been 8 hours. It was just a term for original video animation that went straight to video onto the video market and subverted the theatrical circuit. So there's tons of OVA, and it spans over many decades and over many lengths of films and everything. Angel Cop is a great, very political, and it's even got horror elements, but very political action, crime, procedural little anime here. I think it's 6 episodes, so this is a 6-episode OVA, 3 hours in total. Definitely worth watching. Excellent, very atmospheric, great action sequences here. Appleseed is a series of films that starts with the 86, I want to say, animated film, which is my favorite of the bunch, the hand-drawn animated film with characters that I'm blanking on now. Hey, baby. Say hello to Kitty. Yeah, Briarios, Danon. just badass characters. One's like a mecha, like bunny robot. I don't know. It's very unique kind of art style. I say bunny because he's got these cool ears, but just Briario's such a neat character. And then the badass, the Drayden, or I forget, Danon is how you pronounce it. These are the CG ones that would come out in the 90s and 2000s. Appleseed Alpha here. There's 3 CG live-action ones. I have 2 of them on Blu-ray, 1 on DVD, and then an animated one, hand-drawn traditionally. Here we have Adion. This is a collector's edition of Adion. This is the Japanese taking on Greek mythology, gods and men, that kind of thing, Mount Olympus, a really interesting main character, her hero's journey, awesome animation, some great set pieces. This is just classic 80s anime, and one that I think deserves more attention than it got. This is by the character designer and director Yoshikazu Yasuhiko, who did another one of my favorites we'll talk about soon, and music by Joe Hisaishi, who does music for Hayao Miyazaki, as well as other Yoshikazu Yasuhiko films. Armored Trooper Votoms is a long-running, vast anime series that has TV series, OVAs, movies, all sorts of things involved with this series, and this kind of brings them all together into one collection. Unfortunately, half of this is standard edition, the other half is high definition. Long story as to how I finally got this in the collection, because I had some of the other collections that Made in Japan put out. This has all 52 TV episodes, I think in standard edition, 39 OVA episodes, 6 movies in SD and HD on 9 discs. If you love mecha, especially the early roots of Japanese mecha, you got to check out Armored Trooper Votoms. Great storytelling, early 80s, great music. Just, this is why we love anime, stuff like this, which we have never gotten in the West. Nothing even close to that. Yeah, well, Transformers, guess what? The Transformers were designed by a Japanese artist. So, there you go. I think the same one who worked on Bubblegum Crisis, if I'm not mistaken. I'm blanking on the name. Shinji Adamaki? Attack on Titan is a TV series, anime TV series that I've yet to see, that I hear great things about. It's a very early and influential psychedelic anime film from '73. by Eiichi Yamamoto. If Led Zeppelin had a favorite film, this would be it. It always did give me Zeppelin vibes, sort of that art style, right? Here we have an older release of Berserk. This I got at the time when I was the only one on the planet that had a region-free player. And I just wanted this set on Blu-ray because I love this animated series that, you know, I need to sit down and rewatch because it's been a long time. I'm a big fan of the 90s Berserk anime, the manga I've read a bit of, and the video game for the Dreamcast. I just think it's such a unique and dark and morbid sort of high fantasy world that has rules of its own and pushes the boundaries of what such a world can take on. And such a great show. Lower budget, but awesome. The Big O, I've heard really good things about The Big O. This is sort of the end of my era of anime, which I think ends in somewhere in the late 90s. I start losing interest in the late 90s. I just do. Blackjack, another one of my favorite directors from Japan, is Osamu Dezaki. He's got a couple films we'll talk about soon. But Blackjack is about like this magician doctor guy. I don't know much about it, but this definitely looks like a good flick. Blue Submarine number 6 complete collection. I had this on DVD and sold it off to get the 4 episode OVA series here. The Boy and the Beast. I've not seen really any of this guy's films. What's his name? Oh, my favorite. I love when they don't put the director's name. Oh, there it is. Mamoru Hosoda, who did Summer Wars, Wolf Children, Boy and the Beast, a few films. I own most of his films because I hear they're so good. A lot of people call him sort of the Miyazaki of this generation. This right here is why I love anime. If you want to see why Mike Valentine loves anime, this OVA is the reason. It is the most awesome thing on the planet. Hot chicks that are in a band who moonlight as these incredibly cool mecha police officers. It is the coolest thing on the planet. It is kind of like Blade Runner, a lot like Blade Runner, just as moody, just as atmospheric, just as brooding, just as cool. Some of the best animation ever made. Ever. It's such a cool show. Only 8 episodes. Watch it now. Castle in the Sky, I'd say my top 3 Studio Ghibli films, Miyazaki films. I adore this film. To the moon and back. I love everything about this story. I just think it's so magical and really sweeps you up into its world. It's a wonderful story. Powerpuff Girls never got a Blu-ray release. That's right. Yeah, that's true. Crusher's Joe. There were a lot of Japanese answers to Star Wars and Star Trek. This is one of the better animated Star Trek ripoffs here, if you want to call it that. It does its own thing. It's also directed. This is an earlier Yasuhiko Yoshikazu film or Yoshikazu Yasuhiko film. But definitely a good one and a very fun Star Wars-like story. This is top 5 anime films of all time, Cyber City 080808. I love that title. Cyber City 080808. Yes. So cool. A lot of people just call it Cyber City, but I prefer to call it 080808 because it just kind of rolls off the tongue in an interesting way. And this is a wonderful steelbook. Now, if you want the best remastered version of this, it's going to be this steelbook. Don't fall for the other Discotek release. I think it was Discotek that put this out, but they didn't put it out remastered. This is the only way to get it remastered. I hate to say it's pretty expensive. This is cyberpunk goodness to its core. This is Yoshiaki Kawajiri, my favorite of his films. It follows 3 characters who are basically bounty hunters that are working to take years off of their sentence. Each job they do for the government knocks a few years off their sentence. They're slaves to the state. And each one has their own unique story. It's an anthology film, 3 different stories. And each character is very different. Has very different motivations. It's an awesome movie. Daibasuta, I have not seen. Fist of the North Star, the movie. Excellent adaptation of the film. Cuts out a lot of the fat from the TV show and gives you a nice, concise story about Kenshiro and his travels through the post-apocalyptic wasteland, which is inspired by Mad Max very, very, very heavily, as well as Bruce Lee and Street Fighter with Sonny Chiba, in the sense that Kenshiro goes around unassumingly and hits these giant dudes in their pressure points, walks away, and the giant dude goes, "Ha ha ha, you think you've defeated me? You're but an ant to my strength." And then as Kenshiro is walking away, the bad guys explode into a cloud of blood and guts. It's fantastic. The only problem with Fist of the North Star, the movie, is that they basically censor the blood into something more. If I'm not mistaken, this still does censor, but it looks like explosions more so than blood. But it's an awesome movie, and this is a great adaptation of it. Good English dub. Obviously, watch it in Japanese if you can. Jolly Good says, you can't fight a street, but you can fight characters in this game. Yes. Another one of my favorite animated films of all time. Galaxy Express and its sequel, Galaxy Express Adieu Galaxy Express. This is a Nova release. This is a South Korean distributor who does really amazing work. I don't think they do their own transfers, so they buy other transfers and distribute them. But what they do well are very nice box sets. And when they have English subtitles, I have no qualms buying from South Korea. They do a really, really nice job for these. This is another story about love and loss and technology and science fiction. It's just such a wonderful story that has all the emotions in it. You know, you'll laugh, you'll cry. It's got wonderful action sequences. And it also, the important thing about this is it makes you think about the implications of technology and its interaction with our world. Ghost in the Shell. This is probably the anime movie that kicked it off for me in the mid-90s. It captured my attention because I was like, ooh, what's this? When The Matrix came out, or a little before, this movie started getting chatter about influencing this big movie that was coming out called The Matrix. And so I remember seeing the marketing at the time, 96, 97, for this movie. And when I finally sat down and watched it, I was blown away. This movie still blows me away. this is the last masterpiece of anime, in my opinion, in terms of films. Doesn't quite get to the detail of some of the Matsumune Shido. What's his name? Sorry, Shido. Yeah, Masamune Shido or Shido Masamune. But it's still an incredible action film with great science fiction implications and just an awesome and cool flick that heavily influenced the Wachowskis visually. That's for sure. Tomb Raider got an anime series on Netflix not too long ago, Jollygood says. Interesting. Ghost in the Shell 2, definitely not as memorable as the original Mamoru Oshii film, one of my favorite Japanese directors. Mamoru Oshii is fantastic. He does live action stuff too. But still a very good film. Ghost in the Shell standalone complex 1 and the second gig here. These are TV. This is a TV show, TV anime. So it's done episodically, 20-minute episodes per show. And it is fantastic. Some of the best animation from the early 2000s to the mid 2000s. Kenji Kamiyama. Great music. Obviously, Kenji Kawai does the music for this. And I didn't mention that this has, I would say, my favorite introduction of any film ever in terms of how the music plays along with the visuals and the building of this shell that a ghost will soon inhabit. A ghost meaning a spirit, a soul. But Ghost in the Shell, the TV series, Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, is amazing. The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, a little time travel story that I don't know much about. Reminds me of a never mind. Grave of Fireflies, a supremely depressing war film here that does not lean on action, leans on drama and emotional weight, and follows these two kids who are just trying to survive the war after Tokyo is firebombed for as long as it was. And this is a really tragic story that is not an upper type of film. It doesn't really have any happiness in it, and increasingly so. All the hope is snuffed out continuously. I just rewatched this film by the director of Godzilla Minus One. His name is Dee-ba-da-ba-dee-doo-dee-da-dee. Is it? Why is this so hard? Yeah, whatever, man. It's by the director of Godzilla Minus One, and yeah. It was absolutely fantastic. One of the best animated movies I've seen in years. All right, I have 10% battery. I'm going to start picking up the pace here. Gunbuster movie, which is related to Die Buster, but yeah. Dude, you got to check out Lupin, but watch this one first. Castle of Cagliostro, the first Miyazaki film. This is one of the great adventure films of the decade, 70s. Hellsing, I have 1 through 4, and then 9 through 10. So I'm missing the middle of the story. Kind of need that. Here we have an early Isao Takahata film who would do a bunch of Princess Kaguya. He was kind of the second-tier Ghibli director, I'll say. He did more dramatic films, less genre stuff, thus less interesting to me. But this one is a very early animated film from the late 60s. Yeah, 68. So Isao Takahata, I believe, was making stuff way before Miyazaki. So, and Howl's Moving Castle, a great Miyazaki film. This one I still need to see. This is Daft Punk, one of my favorite albums, Discovery. It's an awesome album in the dance techno genre. And this is basically Kazuhisa Takenouchi and the Leiji Matsumoto, the guy who is the creator of Galaxy Express, teaming up with Daft Punk to do this feature-length, album-length music video. It looks just as cool as it sounds. I need to sit down and watch it. Irresponsible Captain Tyler, kind of a comedy of errors. This dude ends up the commander of this ship, and he has no idea what he's doing, and continuously so. And it's just one of those kind of anime, more on the comedic side, science fiction comedy. Jinro is one of the most hard-hitting animated films ever made. Very poignant, very deep in its themes, and it's a political thriller at its core about terrorism and, opposing factions and corruption. Mamoru Oshii directed this one just like he did Ghost in the Shell. He also did the live-action version, I'm pretty sure, of his own film. Kiki's Delivery Service, a film I can't really get into, admittedly. We have 9% battery. Little Nemo, Adventures in Slumberland. I was exposed to this at a very young age along with the video game, and I didn't know they were based on comics from 100 years ago, but this has some beautiful animation. This was an American and Japanese co-production. It was directed by Masami Hata and William Hertz. So, and this came out late 80s, I want to say 87 or 88, and I was born in 88. So I grew up renting this, and this just swept me away into its world of dreams and imagination, and I love it. Wonderful animation. Castle of Cagliostro, this is one of the best Miyazaki films here. If you want a rollicking Indiana Jones-like adventure, Castle of Cagliostro is the one. And watch it on a double feature with this, Lupin the Third, the First, which is a weird title, I admit, but this is so funny. Great action. Megazone 2-3. This is a fantastic 3-part anime directed by different directors, so each has their own style. But this is a lot like The Matrix in its themes. A lot like The Matrix. I mean, some would claim a ripoff of The Matrix. It is so close to The Matrix in terms of the story it's trying to tell. It's insane. Watch this. This is fantastic. Fantastic mecha design. This is just such a cool film here. Or OVA, 3-part OVA. I've not seen the original Fritz Lang Metropolis, at least not in a long time, so I want to watch that again before I watch Rintaro's Metropolis, his Japanese version. I have a couple Mobile Suit Gundams. I really like these OVAs. I've seen them on DVD, but not on Blu-ray. This one's like Vietnam style. Both of these are very interesting action-based, mecha-based war dramas, really. Shorter OVAs, tells you a full story about the implications of war. It's really, really good. If you want to see what anime is capable of, you know. Speaking of anime, this is really, really early anime. This is a little after wartime. During. This project was funded by the Navy Ministry of Japan during World War II, making it literal propaganda. And just to see Japanese animation in black and white, this stuff is way ahead of its time. I mean, still haven't opened it, though, I gotta be honest. Amazing. Amazing to have this stuff. I got this stuff when it was super cheap. My Neighbor Totoro, which is a beautiful little innocent childhood film with some pretty frightening imagery, but not very memorable for me. It's not my favorite. Oh, certainly worth more. What's up, fun Bobby? My Neighbors, The Yamadas, another Isao Takahata film, which I have not seen. This, Nadia and the Secret of Blue Water. You guys know Hideaki Anno, who would go on to do the classic Evangelion, which I have yet to see. But this is where he really gets his druthers, we'll say. 39 episode TV OVA, animated series, non-OVA, syndicated TV show that is based on the works of Jules Verne, definitely encapsulates the Jules Vernean vibe that I adore so much, but gives it that anime sheen and the sort of beautiful, beautiful animation by Hideaki Anno. And like I said, who would go on to do the Evangelion series, which people love quite a bit. Shit, look what I just did there. Fucking hell. Yeah, that's what happens when you have one hand. All right, whatever. I'm over it. I just curse a little bit and then it feels better. Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind is one of my favorite animated films, one of my favorite films, top 10 of all time, one of the greatest female heroines of all time. This is such a powerful film about man's relationship with nature, with power, sticking up for what you believe in, being strong in the face of adversity, all the great wisdoms of humanity. And Miyazaki sort of takes it all and throws it into this wonderful film about what humans do to ourselves and to the planet, and how the planet and nature may react. And it's a totally unique post-apocalyptic world where this area, this toxic jungle, which is confined to a small area, and pumps all these toxins out as a defense mechanism against the humans who have encroached upon its land for far too long. It's just a wonderful story. I love Nausicaa as a character, and I have read the original manga, and it's fantastic. I've read most of it. I will check out Monsters University at some point, yeah. This is based on a classic Japanese kids novel. I've not seen it, but it's got kitties in it, so that's cool. Anthropomorphic cats. Ninja Scroll, my first Yoshiaki Kawajiri film, the film that everybody knows, which should have made Kawajiri a household name like Miyazaki, but he's not. But this is the film that he is most known for. This is a quick, wonderful, heavily Japanese, folklore inspired film here, but great action set pieces, doesn't waste any time, no bullshit, very adult. One of the first anime films I was exposed to as a youngin'. All right, we've got 6% battery. Okay, we need to move. Only Yesterday, haven't seen. Outlaw Star, haven't seen. Paprika. This is another giant in the anime field. Satoshi Kon. Paprika is probably my favorite. I know most people's favorites is Pafekuto Baru, which is Satoshi Kon's sort of psychological horror thriller that would influence Black Swan by Darren Aronofsky. Patlabor, I have only seen the 2 Patlabor movies, but this encapsulates all of the films, the television series, as well as the OVA series. So very lucky to have that. Is that Mamoru Oshii? We've got a really cool steelbook here of the Pokemon trilogy. I'd say that these are definitely worth watching. There's so many Pokemon movies now, but the first movie still holds up with Mewtwo. And at the time, my God, it was a huge movie. We all went to go see it in the theaters. Pompoko, Ponyo. Haven't seen these two. Porco Rosso is excellent, about an anthropomorphic pig who, it kind of ties in Hayao Miyazaki's obsession with aviation, like most of his films do. Really cool twist in this one. Fun movie. Mononoke Hime, also known as Princess Mononoke, here in the West, is a classic. Everybody recognizes this as a classic. I recognize this as a great film that I need to watch again because I haven't seen it since I was a teen. Here's Osamu Dezaki doing one of the most underrated action flicks from the 80s. This has some of the earliest examples of Japanese CG animation in a really rough sequence. You'll know it when you see it. But other than that, this has some of the most incredible animation from the time. Gorogo 13, which is Duke Togo, sort of the Japanese answer to James Bond. Kicking ass, The Professional. Awesome, awesome fucking animated movie, man. Psycho Pass, one of the more... I'm very picky with my anime, but I did add this after reconciling it with some of the reviews and some of the things that people said online. This does seem up my alley. It's been compared to Ghost in the Shell. It's cyberpunk. This is a little bit later than I usually watch, but it's the complete series, or season 1. It's 22 episodes. I'll give it a shot. Now, this is right up my alley. The Record of Lodos War, OVA plus Chronicles of the Heroic Knight. Now, the unfortunate thing about Chronicles of the Heroic Knight, I'm pretty sure, is that it's standard definition, where the original Lodos OVA here is in high definition. If you want to see anime, Dungeons and Dragons, high fantasy, fantastic storytelling, this is it. Watch the original OVA from the 80s. It's fantastic. Great music, great story, great characters. Yes, they're a little tropey, but you got to understand at the time, this was way ahead of its time. And I love Record of Lodos War. I've watched it over and over again. It's a great series. Red Line, crazy, chaotic art style in this one that is a lot to look at, but man, is it a fun, high-octane sort of racing action movie. Royal Space Force, also known as The Wings of Aniamis, is a... Actually, hold on one sec, guys. I just figured I could do this. So I don't have to, freak out over the battery dying. All right. Here we go. Wings of Aniamis. This film was way ahead of its time, tells a very dramatic science fiction story at a time where the Japanese were telling very action-oriented science fiction stories. But this one definitely makes you think. It's very philosophical. The best thing about this is the world building. It just creates a slightly parallel world to ours that is very compelling and very detailed in its expounding of the way its world functions. And it just follows this character who's going to be the first man in this society to go into space, and sort of the trials and tribulations that surround that. A very forgotten film, Wings of Aniamis, not a name that really rolls off the tongue, but Royal Space Force, it is also known as. 3 hours, oh my god, okay. Satellite and Milk Cow, okay. Don't know much about that. Secret of Arrietty, this is one of the lesser-known Ghibli films here. Another, same director as The Professional, Gogo 13, Space Adventure Cobra. This is Osamu Dezaki, one of the most unique-looking animated films from the 80s. This has a flow to it, a dynamic, non-stop movement to its animation. Things are sparkling. He's using all these very interesting animation techniques that keep your attention and transfixes you to what's going on the screen. The animation outshines the narrative in this film, but it doesn't matter. It's based on an old manga. It's got a TV show, some OVAs, kind of like, Star Wars, or kind of like James Bond in space, sort of this badass hero with this cool weapon like Mega Man. Space Adventure Cobra, corny name, I'll give you that, but it is an awesome feature-length film here. Theatrical film in Japan. Osamu Dezaki, want to see some of this more unique work. It's freaking cool. Space Dandy. God, I'm running out of steam here. Space Dandy is another one that I hear is pretty good from that era, late 90s, early 2000s, that... Wait, is this not from that era? Okay, maybe it's not. Maybe it's from 2014. Anyway, I hear great things about it. It's been recommended to me, so that's why I have it. Mermaid's Forest, Byron. I've not seen Mermaid's Forest. Is that anime? Here we have the original Speed Racer, obviously a classic anime, one of the earliest anime from the 60s here. Definitely one of the earliest exposures here that we had in the West to anime. We have Miyazaki's Spirited Away, probably his most celebrated film. People love this movie. It's definitely not one of my favorites, but it's a fantastic fucking movie. None of these Miyazaki films, despite me not putting them in as a masterpiece, I still think they're like 4 out of 5. They're still excellent. Another Hosoda film. I love the art style on the cover here. It just compels me. It's like, what the hell is this about? Hosoda film. I don't know much about it, but it seems a little bit of sci-fi. Byron Vampire says, yes, it's pretty interesting, and by Rumiko Takahashi. Like she did Inuyasha Ranma half, but it's much darker. Interesting. I always thought those had a feminine touch to them, so my gut was right. You can usually tell when it's directed by a female, which there aren't much anime directed by females, that's for sure. There's more female composers that I've noticed, like Michiru Yamane from video games. Sword of the Stranger, very, very good. Samurai film here, feudal Japan. One of the better anime or modern anime films. Here's Isao Takahata. This was a celebrated film years ago, last decade. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that art style. Totally unique. One of a kind. Nothing like it. I hear this is a fantastic movie. Need to check it out. This is, I believe, the only film by Goro Miyazaki, who is Hayao Miyazaki's son. And I don't know, this is a good movie. I didn't have any qualms with it, really. Was it a little boring? Yeah, compared to some of the other Ghibli stuff. But I thought Goro directed a pretty damn good movie about the Earthsea novels by Ursula Le Guin. And I think it was Ursula Le Guin. Yeah, Ursula K. Le Guin. Not a bad little high fantasy movie. I thought it was fine. Vampire Hunter D. I love Vampire Hunter D. Such a cool freaking character. This movie has some of the coolest animated sequences from the 80s. Look at that. Oh, look at the colors. Gothic horror mixed with crazy over-the-top Japanese action. A movie that I think Toyo Ashida did the Fist of the North Star movie. And and maybe even some of the animated TV show. This is a cult classic. This is a great, great movie with an incredible art style, great music, and great atmosphere. Super cool action. This one is arguably better. It's definitely got cleaner animation, which some prefer, some don't. This is Yoshiaki Kawajiri, stepping closer into the digital age, so it does have a slightly different animation style than his older films. But this film still kicks my ass. I mean, this is still an awesome Vampire Hunter D movie, and we don't have too many of those, so the imagery in this film with the, oh my god, some of the imagery is just so freaking cool. All right, Venus Wars, one of my favorite anime films of all time, and this one's directed by Yoshikazu Yasuhiko. I've talked about a few times here. This is a really down-to-earth and realistic portrayal of a civil war breaking out from the perspective of a group of young people, some older cats, some older, more veteran-type folks and journalists, and just normal people. Usually in war films, we follow the people that are at war, the people in power. But not this Japanese film. This is totally from the perspective of the people on the ground and sort of like the immensity of the warfare that's taking place around them, the lack of control that these kids have over their land, their world, their city. And it takes place on Venus, but it's a civil war that breaks out right at the beginning of the film during an incredible chase sequence. Some of the coolest mecha designs ever in this one. Tells such a powerful story about innocence lost. Why do I have 2 copies? Well, I read at some point why I have 2 copies. I think they're 2 different transfers, and I haven't sat down and really figured out which one I like more. This is the newer version, a beautiful slipcover version here, which I ripped at some point, which I'm an idiot. But I did glue back because I'm insane. And then we have Vexil. This movie is very prophetic. I'm not going to go into details, but this movie is very prophetic in terms of the last, we'll say, 5 years of world history. And Vexil is a good little conspiracy sci-fi thriller from the creators of Appleseed. It has the same kind of vibe as Appleseed for sure. It's that Shinji Aramaki kind of vibe. But Vexil is a really good one with a very good sci-fi story, if not a bit derivative, we'll say. Weathering with You, this is a Makoto Shinkai film, which, again, Makoto Shinkai is a director that I've not seen much work by. I think Makoto Shinkai also did films like that. Whisper of the Heart, another Ghibli I haven't seen. This one is one of the only Miyazaki films, this one and the last film he did, that I have yet to see. I don't think I've seen Ponyo. I tried watching Ponyo once. Kiki's Delivery Service, I couldn't get through. But The Wind Rises, I hear this is his magnum opus. This is his love letter to cinema and to aviation and to all the things that he cares about. More of a drama, wartime drama. But Wolf Children, another Mamoru Hosoda film that I definitely would like to see. And we've got, probably last but not least, Your Name, another Makoto Shinkai film. Just does these really melodramatic looking science fiction stories, and I do want to give his work a chance. Okay. Wow. Oh, battery's about to die. Oh my god, oh my god. Okay. We're good. I can't move from here because my phone's plugged in. We have 1% battery. Guys, what a day. Holy crap. I am exhausted. Another 3-hour live stream. I need to slow down or I'm going to burn myself out again. There's no reason that I can't do 1-hour live streams. But I hope you guys enjoy this stuff. I'm glad I can keep up the energy levels. This really keeps me sharp. Keeps me articulate, eloquent, like I try to be. Thank you all for the support, for watching this live stream for as long as you have. It means a lot. I hope I'm making your day a little bit more entertaining, a little bit better. Informing you guys as to some cool things about cinematic history, and more importantly, getting you into genres that maybe you aren't too familiar with. That's why I do the channel, because I love sharing my passion with other people. Guys, I love you all. You guys are fantastic. We had a very lively chat today. Very lively, a lot of viewers will say, and more thumbs up than ever. So give it one last hurrah. Feel free to give it a thumbs up. Anybody who hasn't given a thumbs up that's watching right now, I would love to see that number go up a little bit. Like I said, it helps me with exposure. And I'm getting a lot more subscribers than I did. So, Thank you, Byron. My day has been pretty good. I'm tired now, though. I'm going to drink some water, eat some food, and chill out. Lucy, take it easy. Peace out. Guys, thank you all so much for watching. Feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, liked what you saw, feel free to subscribe and hit the little bell for notifications. That'll keep you up to date and alert you guys when I am doing live streams. I'm trying to be more systematic, trying to give you guys a heads up as to when I'm doing these live streams. We're going to finish my collection live streams for the next week or so. And then we're going to get into more specific videos of the likes that I used to do. Some thrifting videos. Guys, thumbs up went up by 3. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. You guys take it easy. I'll see you next time. Bored Cyborg is out. Peace.